The glitter of diamonds has always reminded me of tears, fitting since both can cut deep enough to leave permanent scars. I learned that lesson watching Liam whisper to his mother across the crowded charity gala, their faces illuminated by the crystal chandeliers of the Drake Hotel ballroom. My name is Sophia, and until tonight, I thought I knew what love looked like. They're planning something, Emily muttered beside me, her champagne glass tilting dangerously as she gestured toward them. I've seen that look on Evelyn's face before. It's the same one she had right before Morgan Gems swooped in and stole the Cartwright account. You're being paranoid. I adjusted the vintage sapphire pendant at my throat, a Hart family heirloom that had survived 3 generations of jewelers. Liam wouldn't do that to me, to us. Really? Then why hasn't he mentioned you once in his speech about future business ventures tonight? The truth in her words stung, but I pushed it aside. He's just being professional. Professional doesn't explain why your fiancé is huddled in a corner with his mother instead of standing next to you at your own charity event. I watched as Evelyn's manicured hand gripped Liam's arm, her red lips moving rapidly. His shoulders tensed, but he nodded. Whatever she was saying, he wasn't fighting it. Sophia! Derek appeared at my elbow, his designer suit slightly rumpled from working late at the studio again. The Ashworth collection specs just came in. We need to talk. Not now, I said, my eyes still fixed on Liam. Can't it wait until tomorrow? It's about the stones Morgan Gems supplied for the collaboration. Something's off. That got my attention. What do you mean, off? The clarity ratings, they don't match what was promised. I've checked 3 times. Emily's "I told you so" was written all over her face, but she stayed quiet. Smart woman. Across the room, Liam finally broke away from his mother and started walking toward us. His smile was perfect, practiced, the same one he used to close million-dollar deals. There's my beautiful fiancé, he said, sliding an arm around my waist. Mother's thrilled about the merger announcement next week. She thinks it'll revolutionize both our businesses. Merger? The word felt like acid on my tongue. What merger? His grip tightened slightly. Didn't I mention it? Just a little surprise I've been working on. Hart Jewels and Morgan Gems joining forces. Think of the possibilities. Derek's face darkened. Funny timing, considering what I just found about those stones. What stones? Liam's voice remained smooth, but something flickered in his eyes. The ones your company supplied for the Ashworth collection, I said, studying his reaction. Apparently, there are some discrepancies. Must be a mistake. He waved it off with his free hand. I'll have Olivia look into it first thing Monday. Or we could discuss it now, Derek pressed. Now isn't the time. Liam's smile never wavered, but ice crept into his tone. We're celebrating, remember? Emily cleared her throat. Celebrating what, exactly? The merger none of us knew about until 30 seconds ago? Before Liam could respond, Evelyn materialized beside us, her diamond necklace catching the light like a noose of stars. Darling, the reporters are waiting. Shall we make the announcement now? My heart stopped. What announcement? The merger, of course. Evelyn's smile was razor sharp. Liam's been working so hard on this surprise for you. Morgan Hart Jewels has such a lovely ring to it, don't you think? The room spun slightly. Morgan Hart, not Hart Morgan. Such a small detail, but it said everything. Excuse me, I managed, pulling away from Liam's grip. I need some air. As I walked away, I heard Evelyn's voice, soft but clear. Don't worry, dear. She'll come around once she understands it's for the best. I pushed through the ballroom doors, my grandmother's sapphire suddenly heavy against my throat. They'd planned this all along, the collaboration, the engagement, everything, and I'd fallen for it, sparkly ring and all. Well, they were about to learn something about the Hart family that Liam should have remembered. Diamonds aren't the only things that can cut. The loop trembled in my hand as I examined the diamond under harsh LED light. 3 days after the gala, and the betrayal still burned fresh. Derek hovered nearby, his reflection distorted in the jeweler's glass case between us. The inclusions are obvious, I said, setting down the loop. These aren't the grade Morgan gems promised. They've been doing this systematically. Derek spread out a series of certification papers across the counter. I checked our last 3 shipments. All of them are at least 2 grades below what we paid for. I traced my finger along the document's edge. And the Ashworth collection launches in 2 weeks. We can't use these stones, Sophia. It'll destroy our reputation. The shop bell chimed. Liam strode in, all perfect suit and practiced charm. There's my favorite family of jewelers. How's the collection coming along? Derek's jaw tightened, but I placed a warning hand on his arm. We need to talk about the stones. Already? I told you Olivia would handle it Monday. Liam reached for me, but I stepped back. It's Wednesday. His smile flickered. Is it? Sorry, darling. Been caught up in merger preparations. Speaking of which, Mother wants us over for dinner tonight to discuss the announcement details. I'm busy tonight, I said, gesturing at the papers. These certification discrepancies need my attention. Come on, Soph. It's just dinner. Family getting to know family. They're not family yet. Derek's voice could have frozen hell. The shop door chimed again. Emily burst in, waving her tablet. Sophia, we have a problem. Morgan Gems just announced a new signature collection. Launch date, same day as Ashworth. My stomach dropped. What? Their Instagram post went live 10 minutes ago. Same market segment, same price point. They're going to split our customer base. Liam's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then quickly tucked it away. Mother likes to be competitive. I'm sure we can work something out. Competitive? Emily laughed sharply. Is that what we're calling corporate sabotage now? That's a serious accusation. Liam's voice hardened. One you might want to reconsider. Or what? Derek stepped forward. You'll tell Mommy dearest? Stop it, both of you. I moved between them. Liam, either you didn't know about this, in which case you're incompetent, or you did, which makes you complicit. Neither option looks good for our engagement. Pain flashed across his face. Sophia, please, everything I've done has been for us, for our future. Our future? I grabbed the certification papers and thrust them at him. Look at these. Really look. Your company has been systematically undermining mine while pretending to support us. How is that building our future? He barely glanced at the documents. There must be a mistake. The only mistake was trusting you. The words tasted like ash. Get out. Don't do this. He reached for my hand. We can fix this. Together. The merger is off. I twisted away, yanking the engagement ring from my finger, and so is the wedding. The diamond caught the light as I set it on the counter between us. 3 carats of perfect clarity, unlike everything else about our relationship. You're making a mistake, he said quietly. Mother won't take this well. Is that a threat? A warning from someone who loves you, Emily snorted. Love doesn't usually come with sabotage. Liam's mask finally cracked. You have no idea what you're dealing with. Any of you. He backed toward the door. When this all falls apart, remember, I tried to protect you. The bell chimed one final time as he left. Silence filled the shop, heavy with unspoken fears. Derek broke it first. We need to pull the Ashworth collection. Start over. We can't. I pressed my palms against the cool glass counter. We've invested everything in this launch. The publicity's already rolling. If we cancel now, then we don't cancel. Emily's eyes gleamed. We fight back. I've been doing some digging on Morgan Gem's supply chain. There are irregularities. What kind of irregularities? The kind that could ruin them if they became public. She paused. But we'd need proof, hard evidence. I looked at the empty spot where my engagement ring had sat, then at the certification papers documenting Morgan Gem's deception. Then that's what we'll get. They want to play dirty? Fine. But they're about to learn that hearts aren't just pretty stones in their collection. Derek's smile was sharp. Where do we start? With Olivia, I said. She knows everything that happens in that company, and everyone has a price. The game was changing. Liam wanted to talk about protection. He should have thought about who needed protecting from whom. The Morgan Gems headquarters loomed above me, all glass and steel reaching toward a gray Chicago sky. I adjusted my blazer, feeling the weight of the hidden recording device Emily had insisted I wear. Olivia was waiting in the lobby, her perfect posture and pressed suit a reflection of Morgan Gem's polished facade. Miss Hart, what a surprise! I think we both know it's not. I matched her practiced smile. We need to talk about the Ashworth collection. She led me to a conference room overlooking the river. Liam mentioned you were having concerns. Concerns? I pulled out the certification papers. Your company supplied us with inferior stones while preparing to launch a competing collection. That's not a concern, it's fraud. Those are serious allegations. Her fingers drummed once on the table. Do you have proof? You're looking at it. Paperwork can be misleading. She studied me with sharp eyes, just like appearances. The door opened. Liam walked in, followed by Evelyn. My stomach clenched. Sophia, darling. Evelyn's voice dripped honey. How fortunate. We were just discussing the merger announcement. There won't be a merger. I stood gathering my papers. Or a wedding. Don't be hasty. Liam moved to block the door. Mother has a proposition. The last proposition from your family nearly destroyed mine. Evelyn's laugh was soft. Oh, sweetheart, that wasn't destruction. That was foreplay. She pulled out her phone, sliding it across the table. On the screen was a document, the deed to Hart Jewels building. Our lease agreement. Your grandfather was a sentimental man, Evelyn said. He should have read the fine print when he signed that 99-year lease. The building's owner can terminate it with 6 months' notice if they plan to demolish. The room tilted. You bought our building. 3 months ago. Liam wouldn't meet my eyes. It's nothing personal. Nothing personal? My laugh sounded strange, even to me. You're trying to destroy my family's legacy. We're trying to save it. Evelyn stood smoothing her skirt. Morgan Hart Jewels could be magnificent. Your talent, our resources, the alternative. She shrugged. Well, commercial rent in Chicago is prohibitive these days. You're blackmailing me. I prefer to call it aggressive negotiation. She smiled. You have 24 hours to reconsider the merger. After that, we start demolition paperwork. And if I go public with the certification fraud? Darling, Liam said softly, who do you think controls the certification board? My phone buzzed. A text from Emily. Got it. Check your email. I forced my hands to stay steady as I pulled out my phone. There it was, forwarded from Olivia's private account to mine. Every email documenting Morgan Gems' systematic fraud, including Evelyn's explicit instructions to falsify certifications. Interesting timing, I said, watching Olivia's face. Your manager seems to have had an attack of conscience. Evelyn's head snapped toward Olivia, who had gone pale. What did you do? What you taught me? Olivia stood straighter. Look out for myself. You stupid. Evelyn lunged for my phone. I stepped back, hitting forward on the email chain. Too late, it's already gone to every major jewelry publication and trade authority. Should hit the news cycle in about now. Liam's phone started ringing, then Evelyn's, then the conference room phone. "You've ruined everything," Liam whispered. "No." I met his eyes. "I protected what matters, something you should have thought about before trying to destroy my family." "This isn't over," Evelyn snarled, already dialing numbers. "I'll bury you." "With what?" Olivia's voice was steady. "I sent everything, Evelyn. Everything." I walked to the door, pausing beside Liam. "You know what the difference is between our families? Hearts protect their own. Morgan's just consumed them." The elevator ride down was silent. Outside, Olivia caught my arm. "They'll come after you," I said. She nodded. "I know, but 15 years of watching them destroy people. I couldn't do it anymore." "Why help us?" "Because you still have something worth saving." She smiled sadly. "Take them down, Sophia, all the way down." I watched her walk away, then pulled out my phone. "Derek, start the contingency plan and call our lawyers. We're going to need them." The game had changed. Evelyn wanted war? Fine. But she'd forgotten something crucial. Before diamonds are beautiful, they're forged under pressure, and I was just getting started. The media storm hit harder than I expected. 3 days after the emails leaked, reporters camped outside Hart Jewels like vultures, while Morgan Gem's stock price plummeted. I should have felt victorious. Instead, watching the morning news, I felt hollow. "Morgan Gems faces multiple investigations," the anchor announced. "Sources say federal authorities are—" The TV clicked off. Derek stood in the doorway of my office, holding 2 coffee cups. "You need to see this." He handed me his phone. On the screen was a cease and desist letter from Morgan Gem's lawyers, threatening legal action over our upcoming collection. "They're claiming patent infringement," he said, "on cutting techniques we developed years ago." "That's impossible." I scrolled through the document. "These patents are dated last month. They've been planning this longer than we thought." Derek's knuckles whitened around his cup. "There's more. The certification board is launching an investigation into us." The coffee turned bitter in my mouth. "What?" "Anonymous tips suggesting we've been falsifying our own certificates. They're auditing every stone we've sold in the last 5 years." A sharp knock interrupted us. Emily burst in, face flushed. "Olivia's gone." "What do you mean, gone?" "Missing. Her apartment's empty, phone disconnected. The emails from her account?" Emily swallowed hard. "They're being questioned as possible forgeries." The pieces clicked together with sickening clarity. It was a trap. Sophia. They knew. I stood, pacing. They knew Olivia would turn. They wanted those emails leaked. But the stock price is temporary, but an investigation into us? My laugh sounded hysterical. That could destroy us permanently. My phone buzzed. Liam's number. After 3 rings, I answered on speaker. "Quite a mess you've made," he said softly. "Where's Olivia?" "Safe, considering her options. Mother can be very persuasive when discussing loyalty." Derek lunged for the phone, but I held up a hand. "What do you want, Liam?" "The same thing I've always wanted. You, the merger, everything back on track." "In exchange for what?" Olivia returns, recants her statement. The certification board finds nothing amiss with either company. The patents become a non-issue. And if I refuse, then the investigation continues. Every stone, every certificate, every transaction scrutinized. How long do you think Hart Jewels can survive that kind of attention? Emily was already typing furiously on her tablet, but I knew what she'd find. Nothing. The Morgans were too good at covering their tracks. "You have until tomorrow morning," Liam continued. Oh, and Sophia, wear the ring to the announcement. Mother insists. The line went dead. We can fight this, Derek said, but his voice lacked conviction. Can we? I moved to the window, watching the reporters below. They've orchestrated everything. The emails, Olivia, the investigation. We played right into their hands. So we give up? Emily demanded. Let them win? I touched the glass, my reflection overlaying the scene below. In it, I saw my grandmother's determination, my father's pride, 3 generations of hearts who'd built something beautiful. No, I said quietly. We changed the game. How? I turned back to them. They want a merger? Fine. Let's give them one they'll never forget. Sophia, you can't. I can, and I will. I picked up my phone. But first, we need to find Olivia. The real Olivia, not whatever story they've crafted. And then we show them why you should never back a heart into a corner. I started dialing. Emily, call our lawyers. Derek, get me everything you have on those patents. Every sketch, every date, every witness. What are you planning? I thought of Evelyn's smug smile, Liam's soft manipulation, the way they'd tried to dismantle my family's legacy piece by piece. They want to play with fire? I met their worried gazes. Let's show them how it feels to get burned. The reporters outside kept shooting photos, unaware that the real story was just beginning. The Morgans thought they'd won, thought they'd broken me. They were about to learn that sometimes the most dangerous moment isn't when someone has nothing left to lose. It's when they have everything to protect. The Lake Forest mansion loomed before me, its windows gleaming like predatory eyes in the sunset. I smoothed my dress, feeling the weight of the engagement ring I'd sworn never to wear again. Emily's words echoed in my head. You're walking into the lion's den. Marcus Morgan himself opened the door. Sophia, we've missed you at family dinner. The foyer smelled of leather and money. Photos lined the walls. The happy Morgan family through the years. Liam as a child, Evelyn's perfect smile, Marcus's proud stance, all carefully curated lies. Where is she? I kept my voice steady. Who? Marcus guided me toward his study. Oh, you mean Olivia? Such a shame about her. Emotional breakdown. The study door opened to reveal Evelyn and Liam, posed like actors in a play. Between them sat Olivia, hands clasped tightly in her lap. Tell her, Evelyn commanded softly. Olivia wouldn't meet my eyes. I fabricated those emails. The stress. I wasn't thinking clearly. Interesting. I pulled out my phone, playing a recording. Olivia's voice filled the room. They made me do it. The Morgans, they've been falsifying certificates for years. Evelyn's smile never wavered. Easily explained. Part of her breakdown. We have documentation. From the same certification board you control? I turned to Olivia. Tell them what you told me this morning about the offshore accounts, the bribes, That's enough. Marcus's hand clamped on my shoulder. You've made your point. Have I? I shrugged off his grip. Because I think I'm just getting started. Sophia, please. Liam stepped forward. We can still fix this, together. Fix what? The way you fixed those certificates? Or the way you fixed Olivia? You don't understand. I understand perfectly. I faced Evelyn. You thought you could break me, use Liam to get close, then dismantle everything my family built, but you made one mistake. And what's that, dear? My phone buzzed. Emily's signal, right on time. You taught me too well. I smiled. Check your phones. They did, watched as their carefully constructed world began to crumble. What is this? Marcus demanded. Everything, every falsified certificate, every bribed official, every shell company, currently being downloaded by every major news outlet and federal agency. Evelyn's mask finally cracked. You're bluffing. Am I? Ask Olivia, the real Olivia, the one who's been working with federal investigators for months, the one wearing a wire right now. The room exploded into chaos. Marcus lunged for Olivia. Liam grabbed my arm. But Evelyn just laughed. Stupid girl, she said softly. You think this changes anything? We own this industry. One scandal, two, we'll survive. But you? The merger contract you signed last week? The one giving us controlling interest in Heart Jewels? My blood froze. I never signed. Check the paperwork, dear. Your signature's quite convincing. Almost as convincing as your grandmother's was. All those years ago on that lease. The pieces clicked together. Years of manipulation, not just months. My grandmother's mysterious decision to lease instead of buy. The slow erosion of Heart Jewels' position in the market. You've been planning this for decades, I whispered. Of course we have. Evelyn stood, triumphant. The Hearts were always so trusting, so easily led, just like you. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. Those are federal agents, Olivia said, finally looking up. They've been waiting for my signal. Let them come. Evelyn's smile turned razor sharp. We have nothing to hide. But you, Sophia, you just admitted to corporate espionage, wire fraud. How long do you think Heart Jewels will last once you're indicted? The sirens grew louder. Liam's grip on my arm tightened. You have one chance, he whispered. Take the deal. Save what's left. I looked at him, really looked, saw the boy in those family photos, twisted by years of his parents' manipulation, saw what I could become if I gave in. You're right, I said to Evelyn. The Hearts are trusting, but trust, like diamonds, has to be earned. The front door burst open. Footsteps thundered through the house. And you, I finished as agents flooded the room, never earned either. The game wasn't over. But for the first time, I understood the true price of revenge and whether I was willing to pay it. The federal investigation dragged on for weeks. I sat in my darkened office, staring at the latest headlines. Morgan Gems claims vindication, Heart Jewels under scrutiny. The irony burned worse than the scotch in my glass. Derek burst in without knocking. They're seizing our inventory. What? Federal agents? They're downstairs with a warrant. His voice cracked. All our stock, our records, everything. I reached the showroom in time to watch agents boxing up generations of Hart family craftsmanship. Emily stood frozen by the counter, clutching a stack of papers. The merger contract, she whispered as I approached. I've been over it a dozen times. The signature, it's perfect. Of course it is. Liam's voice made me flinch. He stood in the doorway, watching the agents work. Mother doesn't make mistakes. Get out. Can't. Official observer for Morgan Gems. He held up a badge. We need to ensure none of our compromised merchandise is mixed with yours. The rage I'd been suppressing finally boiled over. Compromised? You're the ones who... Careful. His smile was gentle, warning. Everything you say can be used against you, remember? An agent approached with more boxes. Miss Hart, we need access to your private vault. My grandmother's vault, where we kept our most precious pieces, including her sapphire pendant, the one thing I'd refused to wear since that night at the Morgans. You can't. They can, Liam said softly, unless you'd prefer to be charged with obstruction. My hands shook as I entered the combination. Inside lay 3 generations of Hart family treasures. The agent began packing them away with mechanical efficiency. The investigation's focusing on a pattern of fraudulent practices, Liam continued, his voice carrying just enough for nearby agents to hear. Going back decades, your grandmother's era even. You bastard! The words came out as a whisper. You're trying to destroy her legacy too? I tried to protect you. He stepped closer, speaking for my ears alone. Offered you a way out, but you chose war. Miss Hart? Another agent appeared. We need you to come with us. Some questions about certain offshore transactions. Emily moved to intervene, but I stopped her. Call our lawyers. They quit this morning, Derek said, along with half our suppliers. The walls seemed to close in. Everything we'd built, everything we'd protected, crumbling under the weight of the Morgans' perfect plan. Oh, Liam added as agents led me toward the door. Mother wanted you to know. She's keeping your grandmother's sapphire pendant, considers it partial payment for damages to Morgan Gem's reputation. I lunged for him. Derek caught me before I could make contact, but the damage was done. Agents converged, hands reaching for restraints. Add assault to the charges, Liam said calmly. Wait. Olivia appeared in the doorway, flanked by federal agents of her own. There's something you need to see. She held up her phone, playing a video. Evelyn Morgan's voice filled the room. Of course we forged the contracts, just like we did with Old Lady Hart. That fool thought she was signing a lease renewal. The agents paused. Liam's composure cracked. That's inadmissible, he snapped. Illegally obtained. Actually, one of Olivia's agents cut in. It's part of an ongoing federal investigation, one that just got very interesting. Hope flickered, then died as I remembered the merger contract. It doesn't matter. They still own Hart Jewels. Check the date on that contract, Olivia said. Compare it to when I started wearing a wire. Every document, every conversation. We got it all. Liam's face went ash white. For the first time, I saw real fear in his eyes. But it wasn't enough. Not nearly enough. You can prove they forged it, I said quietly. But they've still destroyed us. Our reputation, our suppliers, our future. I looked around the ransacked showroom, at the empty cases that had once held generations of Hart family artistry. How do we come back from this? Derek gripped my shoulder. Together, like we always have. But as agents continued boxing up our lives, as Liam slipped away to warn his parents, as Emily frantically tried to reach any suppliers still willing to talk to us, I wondered if together would be enough this time. The Morgans hadn't just attacked our business. They tried to erase our entire legacy, and even if we proved our innocence, some stains never wash away, unless you cut them out completely. The Morgan Gem's annual gala buzzed with Chicago's elite, but I only had eyes for the display case at the center of the ballroom. Inside, my grandmother's sapphire pendant gleamed beneath spotlights, rebranded as part of Morgan Gem's Heritage Collection. Ready? Derek's voice crackled through my earpiece. I adjusted my evening gown, feeling the weight of the USB drive hidden in my clutch. Everything in position? Emily's got the video feed prepped. Olivia delivered the final documents. Just waiting on your signal. Evelyn Morgan spotted me first. Her champagne glass paused halfway to her lips, perfect smile freezing in place. Security? She murmured, but I was already moving toward the microphone stand. Ladies and gentlemen, my voice cut through the chamber music. I'd like to propose a toast. Liam emerged from the crowd, eyes warning. Sophia, don't. To family legacy. I raised my glass. And to the true cost of diamonds. The screens around the ballroom flickered to life. Evelyn's voice filled the room. The old woman practically gave us her company. One forged signature, and Hart Jewels was ours for the taking. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Marcus Morgan lunged for the AV controls, but Emily had locked them out. That's not all, I continued as security approached. Check your phones. You'll find some interesting documents about Morgan Gem's certification practices. Turns out those investment-grade diamonds you bought might need reappraisal. Enough! Evelyn's voice cracked like a whip. Security, remove her! Wait! Derek stepped forward, carrying a velvet-lined case. Don't you want to see our wedding present first? He opened the case. Inside lay a diamond that seemed to capture starlight itself. The crowd gravitated toward it, murmuring in awe. Impossible, Marcus whispered. That cutting pattern? It's not possible? Derek smiled. I've been developing it for years. While you were busy forging documents and stealing our legacy, we were actually innovating. The patents already filed, I added, along with evidence of every forged document, every falsified certificate, every corrupt deal you've made in the last 30 years. Liam reached for my arm. Please, we can still fix this. Fix what? I yanked away. The way you fixed my grandmother's signature, the way you fixed those certificates. I loved you. No, you loved what I represented, a way to legitimize your family's corruption. The ballroom had gone silent, phones lighting up as news alerts started flooding in. Morgan Gems's stock was already plummeting. You've destroyed us, Evelyn said quietly. No, I moved to the display case, removing my grandmother's pendant. You destroyed yourselves. I'm just bringing your empire down to match your ethics. Security, Marcus bellowed. Arrest her for theft. It's not theft. Olivia stepped forward, federal agents emerging behind her. The pendant's ownership was never legally transferred, unlike certain other transactions we've uncovered. The next few minutes dissolved into chaos, agents moving in, handcuffs clicking. Evelyn's perfect mask finally shattering as she was led away, screaming about family loyalty. Liam stood frozen, watching his world collapse. Why? He whispered. Why not just take the merger? You could have had everything. Because some things aren't for sale. I fastened my grandmother's pendant around my neck. Some legacies have to be earned. And some have to be protected, Derek added, closing the case containing his revolutionary diamond. The crowd parted as we walked out, phones recording every moment. Tomorrow the headlines would tell the story of Morgan Gem's fall, but they wouldn't tell the whole truth. They wouldn't tell how revenge, like diamonds, has many facets, how it can blind you with its brilliance or cut you with its edges, how sometimes the price of justice is letting go of who you thought you were to become who you need to be. Outside, Emily waited with our lawyers. The federal investigation into Hart Jewels has been officially closed, all charges dropped. And Morgan Gems won't survive the night. Their stock's worthless, their reputation destroyed. Even their insurance company is backing away. I touched the sapphire at my throat, feeling its familiar weight. Good. Was it worth it? Liam's voice carried from the doorway, where agents waited to escort him away. I didn't turn around. Some reflections are better left unexamined. Ask me tomorrow, I said, and walked into the night, leaving the shattered remains of the Morgan Empire behind. The courtroom emptied slowly, murmurs echoing off marble walls as Chicago's elite digested the verdicts. Guilty down the line. The Morgan Empire dismantled piece by piece. I lingered, watching Evelyn's perfectly straight back as marshals led her away. She turned at the door, her mask finally cracking. You think this is victory? No. I touched my grandmother's sapphire. This is justice. Marcus followed without a word, but Liam paused beside me. I meant what I said, about loving you. I know, that's what makes it worse. He nodded once, understanding what I couldn't say. Sometimes love isn't enough to overcome who we choose to be. Outside, reporters swarmed like hungry birds. Emily appeared at my elbow, tablet in hand. The Morgan Gems liquidation is complete. Their client list. She hesitated. Some are asking about Hart Jewels. Let them ask. I watched Derek across the courthouse steps, showing something to Olivia on his phone, probably his latest designs. We have other priorities. The Federal Oversight Committee wants to meet about the certification process reforms. Good. I started down the steps, cameras flashing. It's time this industry had real transparency. Speaking of transparency, Emily's voice dropped. There's something you should know about your grandmother's lease. I stopped. What about it? Olivia found more documents. The night before she signed, there was a fire at Hart Jewels. Small, contained. But the insurance claim was denied, I finished, pieces clicking together, because Morgan Gems owned the insurance company. They didn't just pressure her, they orchestrated everything, the fire, the denial, the lease terms. Just like they tried with us. A reporter shoved forward. Miss Hart, how does it feel, destroying one of Chicago's oldest jewelry dynasties? I thought of Evelyn's face in that final moment, of Liam's gentle lies, of generations of manipulation hidden behind perfect smiles and flawless diamonds. The only thing destroyed, I said clearly, was the illusion. Diamonds aren't just beautiful, they're one of the hardest substances on Earth. They survive pressure, heat, time itself, but they can also shatter if you find the right point of weakness. And Morgan Gem's weakness was thinking they were unbreakable. Derek joined us, Olivia beside him. The new collection's ready, he said. Whenever you are. I nodded, feeling the weight of what came next. Rebuilding wasn't just about Hart Jewels anymore. The entire industry needed change. Miss Hart, another reporter, any comment on rumors that you and Olivia orchestrated this from the beginning? That your engagement to Liam Morgan was part of a longer plan? Olivia stiffened beside me. Even Emily looked up sharply. Let them wonder. Some reflections are better left unclear, their facets catching different lights depending on who's looking. The truth, I said finally, is like a diamond. What matters isn't just how it looks, but how it's cut, how it handles pressure, what it reveals when held up to the light. We walked away from the courthouse, leaving the questions hanging. Behind us, Chicago's skyline gleamed like scattered gems against the sky. The board meeting's in an hour, Emily said. They'll want to know our next steps. Then let's show them. I touched the sapphire one last time, feeling its familiar weight. Not just a piece of jewelry anymore, but a reminder of what we'd lost, what we'd gained, what we'd become. Derek's phone chimed, another client wanting to see his revolutionary cuts. Olivia smiled, already strategizing market approaches. Emily pulled up spreadsheets, planning our industry reform proposals. And me? I thought of Evelyn's words in that Lake Forest mansion. The Harts were always so trusting. She wasn't wrong. Trust, like love, like revenge, can blind you, but it can also show you truths you might have missed. About family, about legacy, about the fine line between justice and vengeance. The sapphire caught the light, scattering blue fire across my hands. Some said revenge was best served cold, but they forgot. The most beautiful diamonds were forged in heat, under pressure, in darkness, just like us. Ready? Derek asked. I looked at my reflection in the tower windows, saw not just myself, but all of us, the ones who'd survived, the ones who'd chosen truth over perfection, substance over shine. Yes, I said, I think I finally am.
My name is Angelique. I just graduated from college and I'm starting my new job, I told my best friend, whom I've known since kindergarten. Angelique, so this is your new employee training, like orientation on my day off? She asked with curiosity. We went to the same college but chose different majors, she continued. I went on to grad school, so I'm curious about your life as a working adult. You won't believe it. We start with a morning run every day, I said. It's part of building our stamina. Wait, really? Everyone has to do that. She seemed surprised, getting a taste of the challenges of working life. Well, unless there's a reason, everyone up to their second year participates. Those with 3 years or more are exempt. But I think about half the company still joins in. The rest do things like crosswords or brain exercises. Wow, that's interesting. I definitely skipped the exercise part, she chuckled in her own way. Our company motto is pretty unique. Always be healthy, work hard, play hard, and live a long, active life. So for the first 30 minutes after starting work, we have time for physical and mental exercises. That's really interesting. Not that I'm a working adult yet to comment. It's like being part of a club or school group, interacting with people of all ages and departments. It's fun. I really like the company I've joined. But hey, you seem tired. You're quite observant, I replied, surprised by my best friend's keen eye. Overall, the atmosphere here is good, but there's one huge obstacle. A supremely arrogant individual stands in my way. Thinking of quitting, my friend's concern was evident. You lack determination, just as I suspected. Our manager, who could sigh for the Olympics, has the power to completely demoralize anyone she sighs at. I continued, describing the situation. She's complaining loudly on the phone with a part-timer who's been absent for days. Her words are sharp, filled with malice, cornering the poor person. She's taking a break turns into days of neglecting her duties, and now she wants to quit. How carefree. I imitated the manager's tone, tinged with sarcasm and menace. The last time the part-timer showed up, I saw her visibly shaken, tears welling up. I sighed, recalling the incident. It took a lot of courage for her to even call. The manager has no choice but to accept her resignation. It would be better if she just let her go without the sarcasm. In this version, I adjusted the dialogue and flow while maintaining the essence of the original story segment. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like to refine or expand upon. It's been a month since I joined the company. The first week was spent familiarizing myself with all the departments. Surprisingly, I've already encountered similar situations twice in the past 3 weeks. It's frustrating. She barely pulls her weight and ends up dragging everyone else down. I'm just pointing out the obvious, sighed the manager, known colloquially as the Empress around the office, her brow furrowed deeply. Replacing her will be a hassle. It's only fair she prepares a smooth handover before leaving, isn't it? Tension rippled through the room as the manager sought agreement. Everyone busied themselves with work, nodding without meeting her eyes. But it seems you have something on your mind. Well, as I thought about the part-timer's face, I found myself under the Empress's scrutinizing gaze. Let me ask you, you receive a salary, don't you think you should take responsibility for your work? Yes, there was no other choice but to agree with the statement. The manager knew this well and had deliberately singled me out. Is it acceptable to act selfishly in the workplace? No, but selfishness hinders productivity, doesn't it? I began to respond, but her loud voice drowned me out, leaving me unable to finish. I regret not standing up for the crying part-timer and allowing the manager to dominate the situation. I'm sorry for all the complaining. I didn't mean to bring you down. I started off wanting to talk about the company in a positive light, but it turned into a venting session. Don't worry about it. It's important not to bottle things up, and it's not your fault. Sometimes it's better not to argue back too much. You might end up becoming the next target. Dealing with a manager who mixes power and authority can be tough, right? Just be careful not to get on her bad side. Thanks for sharing. Expressing my gratitude to my best friend, I finally broached the main topic about our upcoming trip. I think I can cover the costs with my savings from college part-time jobs and my first paycheck. I'm planning to take my grandparents to that resort you mentioned before. Do you think they'll enjoy it? This was the crux of what I wanted to discuss. My friend was knowledgeable about travel, having explored extensively with her family. Absolutely, it's a place that even my very picky grandmother loved. My friend smiled in approval. That's great to hear. I really want to make it a special memory for them. Planning the trip with my grandparents meant a lot to me. They had raised me after my parents passed away when I was young. I wanted to repay their love and support, so I had been saving diligently since my college days. Treating them to a relaxing stay at a luxury. With your savings and first paycheck, your grandparents will definitely be thrilled. Seeing my friend smile, I felt a sense of relief. However, it was Friday afternoon, the day before our trip. I was summoned by the manager to her desk. Classify these documents by category and analyze them. They need to be ready for use at the beginning of next week, she instructed, sporting unusually bright lipstick and a self-satisfied smile. Wait, analyze all of these by the end of today, I exclaimed in surprise as I confronted a stack of thick binders, each one hefty and disorganized. Sorting and categorizing alone would likely consume an entire day, let alone analyzing their contents. With an air of triumph, the manager replied, I'm glad you understand. Lately, there have been issues with following instructions. Faced with unjust accusations, I chose to push back. I understand, but it's already Friday afternoon, and there's barely 2 hours left in the day. It's simply not feasible to complete this by Monday. I tried to maintain composure. Ever since our part-time colleague left, it seemed the manager had targeted me, escalating her harassment, excluding me from crucial communications, issuing incorrect directives, then blaming me for misunderstandings. Now, she burdened me with an overwhelming workload just before my long-awaited vacation. My objections seemed to fall on deaf ears. You'll need these ready for Monday. If necessary, you can work over the weekend. And remember, these documents are confidential, so they must stay here. Please, just a moment, I began, but the manager interjected. I have a meeting to attend. I'll be leaving directly from here today, and departed, leaving the stack of documents on her desk. The following day was meticulously planned. Under the expansive sky of our journey, I found myself stifling yawn after yawn with my grandparents. Are you sure you're okay, staying up all night and then heading straight into a trip? Maybe we should have postponed. I'm fine, really. I've been looking forward to this day for so long. Despite having informed them beforehand, my grandparents seemed concerned, anxious that I had stayed up all night before our departure. No, this won't do. This trip is special. I want it to be enjoyable for everyone. I reassured them with a smile. Look at this view, it's breathtaking. The sea is so beautiful. Don't worry about me. I worked hard so I could enjoy delicious food, relax in the hot springs, and sleep in a comfortable bed. My silly antics finally brought a smile to my grandparents' faces as they began to appreciate the scenery with relief. But amidst all the enjoyment, a nightmare awaited me. Did you finish the task I assigned you? You didn't quit, did you? As I strolled alone in the inn after checking in, a familiar voice startled me. Manager, of all places, why here? Seemingly reading my mind, the manager snorted and left. I disrupted your weekend to teach you a lesson. I didn't expect you to ignore my instructions. The manager's words hung over me like a curse, and I felt a wave of dizziness wash over me. So you deliberately gave me an impossible task just as I was starting my vacation. The thought of work intentionally disrupting my time off ignited a surge of anger within me. But how did you even know about my plans? I knew, the manager remarked. You were chatting during break time. Where are you headed? When's your trip? Oh, I'm so envious. You were basking in all the praise. It was quite amusing. Eavesdropping. You were the one talking loudly. Realizing my casual conversations with colleagues were being monitored, I felt a chill. And besides, I'm surprised. This inn seems too upscale for you. Pardon. Confused, I tilted my head, and the manager continued dismissively. You just don't get it. It's unsightly to see common folk wandering around. Look, there's a dilapidated inn next door that suits your type better. I don't understand your meaning. You might find me unsightly, but the rest sounds like insults and harassment, doesn't it? Just as my frustration peaked, a supportive voice cut in. Is that what this is about? It came from behind me. Grandpa and Grandma, too. My grandparents, whom I thought were enjoying tea in the room, stood behind me. Judging by their expressions, they had heard most of my exchange with the manager. Mrs. I began to explain, but my grandfather intervened, addressing the manager. Nice to meet you. I'm Angelique's grandfather and have been her guardian for many years. To simplify, I'm the honorary chairman of the trading company that recently discussed a deal with your firm. The manager's face paled. The honorary chairman, but your name doesn't match this employee's. Yes, Angelique uses her maternal surname. Otherwise, she might be treated differently due to her family's reputation in another prominent company. I wouldn't want my granddaughter to face undue challenges at her workplace. I'm terribly sorry. I had no idea. The manager's complexion grew even more pale. Do you believe ignorance justifies rudeness? What? Oh no, The manager, sweating profusely and visibly shaken, stood frozen before my composed grandfather. I regret to inform you that I must relay a message to your company's CEO. I have no interest in conducting business with a company overseen by a manager of your demeanor. Please wait. Despite the manager's pleading, my grandfather continued calmly. My granddaughter joined a company with a noble motto: stay healthy, work hard, play hard, and live a long life. I understand that quirky managers are sometimes necessary for a company's growth, but your conduct is detrimental. If you disagree with my assessment, feel free to ignore it or spread rumors, my grandfather stated firmly, recording the encounter with his camera. Let's see whose side the world takes. True to his word, my grandfather departed, leaving the manager trembling. Throughout our trip, I had been capturing moments with my grandparents using my camera, inadvertently recording the entire confrontation. The manager attempted to appeal to my grandfather, but he bluntly stated, "It's too late now," and walked away, leaving the manager visibly shaken. Wait a moment, can't you do something to assist? After my grandfather coldly dismissed her, the manager surprisingly turned to me for help. I declined. You've always insisted there's nothing a newcomer like me can contribute, I retorted, echoing the sarcasm she had directed at me just days before. Managing to suppress my frustration, I even managed a faint smile. Maybe I should consider a career in acting, I mused inwardly. Then, at the beginning of the work week, an incident involving the manager unfolded. The executive who led our company's running club stood resolutely in our department from early morning. Our company ethos promotes a healthy balance of work and leisure, supporting long and prosperous lives. We encourage diligence, but not at the expense of our employees' physical and mental well-being. The managing director's voice resonated across the office floor. Excuse me. Clearly caught off guard by this morning ambush, the manager began to inquire, her fists clenched in a futile attempt to maintain composure, but the executive intervened. Here are the time cards from last Friday through today. 5 employees worked through Friday into Saturday morning. 3 came in on their days off over the weekend. And this morning, Angelique arrived early. As the manager became increasingly flustered, the records were presented to her. What does this mean? Prompted by the managing director, I stepped forward to clarify. With your directive to organize and analyze a substantial volume of data by Monday, including working through the weekend if necessary, it was impossible for me to manage alone. Fortunately, the executive happened by, allowing me to collaborate with colleagues across departments to complete the task as instructed, using the time and resources I just outlined. As the running club members who assisted were present at the executive's briefing, I took the opportunity to express my gratitude once more. I added, I only worked from Friday night into Saturday morning and again early this morning after returning from my trip. My contribution was minimal, but I appreciate their support. When I bowed, I received kind words in return, like, we're here to support each other in times of need, and that's what teammates do. The manager finally seemed to grasp the situation and crossed departments to confront me. Are you saying I didn't authorize this? At the managing director's stern words, the manager froze in shock. The new member of the running group, always smiling, was in serious trouble. As I understood the situation, I learned that you were burdened with an unreasonable workload. It might have been overlooked, but since it was essential for the company, I took charge and garnered everyone's cooperation. I apologized for the oversight, but first, the managing director fixed a stern gaze on the manager. I cannot condone the malicious intent behind overloading a diligent employee who's also caring for their grandparents with an impossible task purely for harassment. These were the most assertive words I had ever heard from the managing director. His expression softened slightly. The other day, my grandchild visited and insisted on making fried eggs. They were charred and had eggshells, but it was the first time my grandchild had cooked with such enthusiasm. To me, it was a feast. He shared this story, blending his affection for his grandchild with the responsibilities of a supervisor. Despite the chaotic kitchen, my wife was in high spirits all day because I praised the eggs. The proud smile on my grandchild's face was priceless. The managing director's unexpected tale brought tears to the eyes of the employees who fondly recalled their own memories of grandparents. I still remember the taste of my grandma's rice porridge when I was sick, and how my grandpa's comforting words and Band-Aid seemed to make everything better. Despite nearly laughing at the managing director's endearing stories of his grandparents, I felt a lump in my throat. Wondering if a gift for my grandparents could prompt such an emotional reaction, Those who had assisted me that day encouraged me as I bowed. If you feel you've caused any trouble, the best way to honor us is to enjoy your trip to the fullest. And they sent me off with warm wishes. I cherish this company, all of you, and my job. It's disheartening to see part-time workers and colleagues like myself targeted and leaving due to unreasonable demands. Speaking with all the courage I could muster, my words elicited a warm round of applause from those around me. However, the manager appeared displeased and confronted them. Is it appropriate to speak like that? The managing director swiftly rebuked her. Silence. If you wish to remain with this company, you will forfeit all titles and privileges and be demoted to the same level as a new employee. Effectively immediately, Angelique, who joined slightly before you, will be your superior. Choose your words carefully. Upon learning that the president had endorsed this decision, the manager vehemently shook her head and protested, "No, I won't accept this." But her objections fell on deaf ears. Instead, she faced the cold stares of everyone present. If you're unhappy, you are welcome to submit your resignation at any time. Well, this marked the downfall of the manager once hailed as the Empress. She was subsequently demoted to a regular employee. Although she lingered at the company briefly, she eventually ceased coming to work, unable to endure the harsh treatment. A few days later, her resignation letter arrived by mail. During that period, our company received media coverage on a TV show titled Morning Exercise, Bonds Beyond Titles, which highlighted me and my grandparents. It was later revealed that viewers resonated with our company's principle, zero tolerance for injustice. Although the unjust female manager remained unnamed, clients easily identified her. Rumors circulated that her chances of securing another job in the industry were slim. Meanwhile, our company smoothly conducted business with my grandfather's company. Collaborating with family members had its awkward moments but also kept me vigilant. Moreover, my reputation within the company soared after the infamous confrontation with the female manager. "Wow, you're so driven. I'd love to work alongside you after I finish grad school," recently remarked my best friend. "I hope that happens too. I've started saving again because I want to travel worry-free with my grandparents. It'll take time, saving little by little, but hang in there, Grandma and Grandpa. I'm committed to cherishing every moment from now on." Sorry, honey. I've taken a wonderful fiancé. Are you upset that I'm happy? Jealous? Why do people who look down on others end up with such hideous faces? Her once cute face now looked distorted, as if it had been a lie. My sister looked down on me and my husband. My anger peaked, surpassing the limits of my patience. My name is Amy. I'm 27 and work at a printing company. Though it's a printing company, I'm in the design department, not operating heavy machinery. We design flyers and catalogs for various businesses, creating designs based on clients' needs. Despite the decline in demand for printed materials due to digitalization, designing is still a busy and rewarding job. I'm thankful for clients who request my services. Compliments like the flyer for the Christmas event was adorable and well received genuinely make me happy. This job could be called my life's work. I might stay single and focus on work my whole life. One day, while considering this, my father was hospitalized with appendicitis. The young doctor who greeted me with, "Hello, are you here to visit someone today?" When I went to see my father is now my boyfriend, David, and recently became my fiancé. You never know where or when you'll meet someone who can change your life. Even though I claim nothing is more important than work, I bought marriage magazines as soon as the topic of marriage came up. I guess I'm more excited than I thought. I flipped through magazines while having tea in the living room. Suddenly, my magazine was snatched away. "Hey, what's this? A bridal magazine? Why are you looking at something like this? It's none of your business, Sarah." The person who took the magazine from me was my younger sister by 2 years, Sarah. If you're thinking about marriage, look at yourself first. Know your place. You're thinking about marriage when you don't even have a boyfriend. In contrast, I've never been without a boyfriend. My current boyfriend is. And so my sister began boasting about her boyfriend without being asked. She has always been like this. Unlike my plain face, she's very cute and has always been popular. Everyone around her spoils her. Besides her parents and me, everyone has always agreed with whatever she said. As a result, she began to think of herself as the center of the world. My younger sister, who grew up arrogant, started looking down on me at some point. "Don't come near me. I don't want your face reflecting off mine. Even if you study hard, you won't get good grades. Why don't you just give up? I got another confession from a guy today. It's so tough being this popular, you must be jealous. She would go on like this endlessly even when her parents scolded her strictly. It was too late. Her personality remained unchanged, and her verbal abuse toward me never ceased. Growing up like that, my younger sister now calls me. Fed up with my sisters boasting about her boyfriends, I sighed and finally spoke up. I do have a boyfriend. In fact, we're engaged. I'm looking at these bridal magazines because we're getting married soon. Upon hearing that, my sister stopped dead in her tracks. If she thinks she's serious, she'll see a grin and a sarcastic smile. Oh, really? There's someone who actually likes you. I wonder what he sees in you. He likes my cheerfulness and positivity. That sounds like a lie. He probably treats you like a housekeeper. I plan on continuing to work, so he understands I can't be the perfect housewife. Upon hearing that, my sister reacted with exaggerated surprise. Wow, you're gonna keep working even after getting married? You poor thing, you must be marrying a poor man. Her words rubbed me the wrong way. It seems she just can't help but look down on me. Money is not a problem. He's a doctor, so his income is stable. It's just that I want to keep working. When I retaliated, my sister suddenly fell silent. I sighed and went back to my room. I'm a doctor, I see, she muttered under her breath, her words dripping with disdain. The first thing to do once you start discussing marriage is to introduce the fiancé to your parents. And so, David came to my house. The mood changed dramatically the moment my sister showed up after David had finished greeting our parents. Oh, so this is your fiancé. He's quite handsome, Amy. I thought you were going out, Sarah said with a smirk. If my sister's fiancé is coming over, of course I'd cancel my plans, she added, her tone dripping with insincerity. I had been relieved that my sister was not around, even if it was just by chance. But now, I had a bad feeling about it. In the past, when we were still students, my sister had stolen my boyfriends multiple times. Once we became adults, I stopped having boyfriends, and since my sister kept having new ones one after another, such incidents no longer occurred. My little sister's return made me feel uneasy, but I hoped she had grown up. I'd like to believe she wouldn't steal my fiancé. Yet seeing my sister acting all chummy with David and my fiancé blushing made me uncomfortable. My worst fear came true. Can we pretend this whole marriage thing didn't happen? I've decided to break up with you and start dating Sarah, David said, confirming my nightmare. I never thought that, even as adults, my sister would steal my boyfriend. Sorry I stole your fiancé, but it couldn't be helped. After all, David found me cuter and more charming. He proposed so passionately. Oh, it's a sin to be this cute, Sarah said, not apologizing at all, looking down on me arrogantly. Next to her, David, my former fiancé, added with a laugh, really? I had no idea you had such a cute sister. If I knew, I wouldn't have engaged with you. It's good that we broke up before the marriage. The moment I saw his distorted smile, all my feelings for him vanished without a trace. All that was left was a feeling of disgust. I'm also glad I didn't marry you, a man who can go to another woman so easily. I'll gift him to you with my best regards, I said calmly. Sounds like you're sorely defeated, Sarah mocked. Exactly, you're not cute till the end, David sneered. I wasn't being a sore loser. I genuinely felt this way. Apparently, the two of them, in their fantasy world, didn't get it. Interacting with you guys is a waste of time. Goodbye. She's such a sore loser. We're the ones wasting time. We're never going to meet again. Bye, Sarah sneered as they left, still looking down on me until the end. After that, we never met again because our furious parents banned them. I heard they got married, but it didn't matter anymore. 3 years have passed since I separated from my sister and her husband, and I'm now 30. I'm still working as hard as ever. During this time, one of my clients, Charles, liked my work and started requesting me repeatedly. As I talked to Charles through work, he eventually asked me out for dinner. Then he asked me out on a date. During one of our dates, he proposed to me. To be honest, I was very happy. Charles is a very sincere person. I thought he wouldn't do anything like my ex, but the incident with my sister had left quite a trauma in me. No way, but I couldn't help but wonder. That's why I told him honestly about my sister and my ex-fiancé. I showed him my sister's photo, gauging his reaction, but his expression didn't change. When he saw my sister's picture, he looked away indifferently and gave me a gentle smile. I hate to say this, but I used to be pretty popular. I've met more cute and beautiful women than your sister, but for some reason, I didn't fall in love with any of them. I thought I'd be single for the rest of my life without dating anyone, but I was wrong. What do you mean? I think I have a good eye for people because of my job. No matter how beautiful or well-dressed a person is, they can't beat inner beauty. That's what I realized when I met you, Amy. What do you mean? I thought you shone very brightly. Eh? When we were talking about work, I thought, Amy is so bright and beautiful. You smiled happily. I could tell that you were really enjoying your time with me. I could really feel that you were enjoying life. I thought you were dazzlingly beautiful. What? Hold on, this is super embarrassing. Despite my flustered reaction, Charles continued. Amy, you are beautiful, more beautiful and charming than anyone else. I've never met a woman as wonderful as you. I would like us to date with the intention of marriage. Truly, I really think of you as. Stop, no more, it's too embarrassing. I was blushing hard, but Charles's words didn't stop. He continued to compliment me even after I agreed to date him. Gosh, it's too embarrassing. Charles and I got married, and we happily became a couple. Our married life has been smooth, and I feel like we've grown even closer than we were before the wedding. We share the household chores, doing them whenever we can. Since my husband lived alone for a long time, he might even be better at household chores than I am. His cooking is the best, especially when I'm tired. On our days off, we often go out together. One such day off, we went to look at furniture as Charles had mentioned wanting to see some. It was then that I ran into the devil from my nightmares. Oh my, I thought I spotted a plain-looking woman, but it's you. I heard a voice behind me as I was looking at the bedding section. I didn't have to look to know who it was. Even though 4 years had passed since we last saw each other, she was unforgettable. Sarah. It was my younger sister. Next to her was my ex-fiancé, David. Sarah's face seemed to have hardened since the last time I saw her, whether it was because of her age or her personality becoming more pronounced. I couldn't tell. David, standing beside her, was also smirking, but he seemed to have lost weight. What brings you here? Nothing much, just looking at furniture. This place has a lot of expensive imported stuff. It's not really for people like you. Her condescending attitude was as annoying as ever. David nodded in agreement. Yeah, exactly. If someone like you comes here, it'll bring down the reputation of the shop. We don't want to be mistaken for being poor. You better leave. I was annoyed by their clattering words, but it was a waste of time to deal with them. Though I chose to remain silent, my attitude seemed to displease them, and their voices grew louder and louder. Oh, this is terrible. A luxury store is ruined like this. Why does such a poor person even come in here? They surely can't afford anything. Yeah, the poor should just leave. As this went on, other customers and the store staff started to glance at us curiously. Exasperated, I grabbed my husband's hand, intending to leave, but he didn't move. At that moment, my sister and her husband finally noticed him. Hey, who are you to her? I'm Amy's husband. My sister's eyes widened in surprise. What? You married this plain girl? Really, you're brave. Did you need a maid? That's hilarious. I help with the household chores. It's normal since we both work. Oh, both working. Poor thing. You're so poor that your wife has to work too. How pitiful. Unlike you, I'm living comfortably as a stay-at-home wife. We dine out more than half the week. Since we have money, we hire housekeeping services. Sorry for being winners? My sister extended the ending of her sentences in an irritating way. My frustration was growing. She smirked at me. Sorry for taking such a wonderful fiancé. Thanks to me, you have to keep working even after marriage and live a poor life with such a dull man as your partner. You two plain folks are a match. Are you envious seeing me so happy? You must be jealous, right? It's just like you to marry a man who can't even support his wife. Keep suffering for the rest of your life. Losers. I had reached my limit. I could stand her insulting me, but I couldn't bear her speaking ill of my husband. Listen here, you better stop. Amy, it's okay. Just as I was about to shout back, my husband stepped in front of me. Sarah, David, he said calmly, I love Amy for who she is. She's kind, talented, and strong. We both work because we believe in supporting each other's dreams and aspirations. Our marriage is built on respect and love, not superficial things like wealth or appearances. I feel sorry for you if you think happiness comes from putting others down. Sarah's smirk faded as Charles continued. We're here because we enjoy looking at furniture together, planning our future together. It's something we both take pride in. So, you can take your jealousy and misplaced superiority somewhere else. Amy and I are happy, and that's all that matters." My sister and David stood there, momentarily speechless. I could see the surprise in their eyes. I squeezed Charles's hand, feeling a surge of gratitude and love for him. "Let's go, Charles," I said, smiling up at him. As we walked away, I felt lighter. I realized that no matter what my sister said, it couldn't touch the genuine happiness and love that Charles and I shared. "Nice to meet you. I'm Charles, your sister's husband. Even your name is lame." "Well, thank you. Since we've met, please accept my business card." As David took the business card my husband offered, he looked at my sister. "You say such rather harsh things about Amy." "That's because it's true. I can say an ugly woman is ugly. That's my law. There's no such law, and to me, you're much uglier." "What?" "Shall we talk about the ugliness of your character? You seem confident about your appearance, but aren't you aware that your distorted personality, which only looks down on others, is showing?" Despite his polite manner of speaking, his words were sharp. My sister's face gradually turned bright red. "Don't joke with me. What's ugly about me?" "Everything. A beautiful person wouldn't be jealous of their sister and steal her fiancé, huh? Hadn't you ever admired Amy and wanted to be close to her, maybe even surpass her?" "No, there's no way that's true." I was surprised. It wasn't just my husband's words but also the way my sister reacted to them. I had never thought about it that way. She always looked down on me. However, seeing her shaken, I started to wonder. One should simply ignore those who don't matter, those who are irrelevant. No matter who you bring along, she won't try to take him from you. After all, she didn't find him herself. Taking someone else's man implies jealousy, the resentment of someone else getting something that she couldn't have, no matter how hard she tried. So, I'm not jealous. Do you want to reassure yourself of your superiority by taking him away? So, you lack self-confidence. A confident person wouldn't do such a thing and could live with their head held high. No, that's not. My sister desperately tried to refute my husband's words, but her voice steadily weakened. "Hey, you son off." David suddenly broke the silence, raising his voice with a pale face. He kept switching his gaze between the business card and my husband, shaking. My sister's shoulders slumped. "What on earth? What's going on?" This name, I thought I'd seen it before, so I looked it up, and when I did, aha, ha, it's Charles Taylor. So, what about it? It's such a common last name, it could be someone else, right? I've seen him at the hospital with the director a few times. I'm sure it's him. I didn't recognize him because I only saw him from a distance. I knew I'd seen him somewhere. If he's the son, he must be a doctor, right? Not every son of a doctor has to be a doctor. And this company, it's a super famous pharmaceutical company. I heard the founder was elderly, and it's been handed over to his grandson. That would be me. It was my husband who calmly addressed the two bewildered individuals. "What? What did you just say?" I'm. Seeing my sister unable to articulate her thoughts and David about to speak up, my husband calmly addressed the two of them, who had turned pale. "I met my wife through my previous job before I took over my grandfather's business. I had heard about your story from her. It's far worse than I imagined." Well. My husband shifted his gaze from my flustered sister to David, his tone firm. "A job that helps people requires empathy. Yet you look down and mock people instead. Who would want to be saved by such a doctor?" That's a misunderstanding." David tried to explain with a pale face, but my husband, his eyes glaring, cut him off. "No excuses. I'll let my father know about you. Await your fate." No. David slumped, head bowed. My sister still stood in shock. Turning her backs to them, we left the scene. I had a feeling I would never see the two of them again. With that thought in my heart, I walked on without looking back. So, what happened afterwards? David, my sister's husband, while not fired, faced a significant pay cut and was removed from any responsible roles. His arrogant behavior towards others had become habitual, and it seemed he was even cold towards patients. Naturally, he drew icy glares from everyone around him. Eventually, he left the hospital, struggling to find a new job and leading a tough life without work. And what about my sister? It was discovered that she was originally a reckless spender, and no matter how high her husband's salary was, their life was pretty tough. This explained why David had lost weight. It wasn't just weight loss, he was emaciated. Once David was hit with a pay cut, my sister quickly gave up on him and seems to have divorced him. If David was no good, she figured she could just find the next man. But reality proved different. Both my husband and I observed when we encountered her again. My sister, who had been charming in her youth, had acquired a harsh demeanor. Perhaps her true nature was finally revealing itself, leading to the end of her appeal to men. My parents called to inform me that she had returned to their house in tears, lamenting, "No one wants to date me." According to my sister, she wondered aloud, "I'm so cute. Why doesn't anyone pay attention to me?" She even expressed a desire to snag a good man and surpass me. When she mentioned she was likely referring to me. Perhaps she felt compelled by some unwritten rule to outshine me. My husband suggested she might have looked up to me once, but even if that were true, I couldn't forgive her behavior. In the end, my parents turned her away, telling her she had made her own choices and must face the consequences. She disappeared into the nightlife, and I haven't heard from her since. I doubt I'll hear my sister's name mentioned again. On the other hand, liberated from the burden of my sister and her husband, I was enjoying peaceful days, a tranquil married life, a job that I love. It's a fulfilling time, and soon, we'll be a family of 3. As I gazed at the computer monitor, I gently caressed my growing belly. We used your mother-in-law's savings to fund this trip. It's all going to be Tyler's inheritance eventually, so it's fine, right? My brother and his wife wasted no time after my mother's passing, not to offer condolences, but to seize her bank book and withdraw her savings before I could even register her death. You dipped into mom's money, huh? I managed to ask Carol, trying to keep my frustration in check. Yeah, we splurged about 10 grand on the trip. Lol, Carol replied nonchalantly. The audacity of my brother and his wife brazenly spending my mother's money without consent initially ignited my anger. But then a realization hit me. They were clueless. I couldn't help but chuckle. Condolences, Carol said, perplexed by my sudden laughter. What's wrong with you? Did our use of the money drive you mad? I wasn't losing my mind. I simply found amusement in picturing their shock when they learned the truth and faced the consequences. Their carefree days were surely numbered. I'm Samantha, an ordinary office worker raised by incredibly kind parents. They were always selfless, often putting others before themselves, even if it meant being taken advantage of. Despite the hardships they faced from their generosity, I deeply admired their unwavering kindness. On the other hand, my brother Tyler had a starkly different personality. He was always strategic, calculating how he could benefit from any situation. He found our parents' altruism perplexing and grew increasingly rebellious against them as he matured. In high school, Tyler started demanding more money from them, arguing, "If you can afford to help others, you can afford to give me more allowance." Despite understanding Tyler's nature, our parents remained steadfast in their values, which only fueled his frustration. Tyler's resentment towards our parents intensified during college, where he exploited their financial support to indulge in parties and eventually face academic setbacks that caused them distress. Parents are supposed to prioritize their children, right? Or is kindness reserved only for others and not your own family? Tyler continued his self-centered behavior, often boasting to his friends, "My parents are so naive, lol." After graduating college, Tyler moved out abruptly and struggled to make ends meet on his initial paycheck. Despite his independence, he frequently returned to our parents' home, requesting financial support to sustain his lifestyle. Our parents, concerned for him, continued to provide him with money whenever he asked. I recounted. Once I secured a job, I took it upon myself to support our parents financially in place of Tyler. Samantha, it's your hard-earned money. Use it as you see fit, our parents assured me. Despite their words, I felt compelled to contribute towards their expenses, particularly their groceries. This routine persisted for several years, during which Tyler, known for only showing up to ask for money, surprisingly invited me and our parents to dine out for a serious discussion. At the restaurant, Tyler introduced us to a beautiful woman seated beside him. "Mom, Dad, Samantha, I'd like you to meet Carol, my girlfriend," he announced as Carol nodded politely. "I've decided to marry Carol. We'll be busy with wedding preparations and setting up our new life together, so I hope we can count on your support." Initially, I thought his request for support meant emotional and familial encouragement for Carol. However, Tyler had a different agenda altogether. He went on to ask our parents to finance his wedding and contribute towards his new home. Knowing our parents' difficulty in refusing requests for help, Tyler adeptly persuaded them to cover all expenses related to his marriage and future plans. After the wedding and the purchase of their new home, Tyler continued to rely on our parents for financial support. Carol, his wife, grew accustomed to this lifestyle and began spending more extravagantly. However, this lavish lifestyle didn't last long. Our father's health took a turn for the worse and he needed hospitalization. Even with insurance, the medical expenses were substantial. Concerned about our retired parents' financial well-being, I proposed to Tyler that we share the burden of the hospital bills. You've been living off mom and dad's support, and you've received a lot from them too, right? This is our chance to give back, I reasoned with him. But Tyler refused. Why should I do that? It's Dad's fault for neglecting his health. He spent his life helping others and now it's his responsibility, Tyler retorted callously. After that conversation, Tyler ceased visiting our parents altogether. Neither he nor Carol came to see our father even once while he was hospitalized. It was left to my mother and me to care for him. But despite our efforts, he passed away. After we informed them of our father's passing, they made a brief appearance at the funeral but showed little regard for our relatives and left without proper acknowledgement. Our extended family looked upon them with disdain, though they seemed indifferent to the reactions. After bravely leading the mourning rituals during the funeral, my mother noticeably lost her vitality in the aftermath of our father's death. Tyler, Mom hasn't been herself lately. She really needs to see you. Can you make an effort to visit her at home? I implored my brother, hoping for his support. By the way, what happened to Dad's inheritance? It all went to Mom. They had already decided that while Dad was still alive, I informed him. So Mom has the money now? I felt a sense of foreboding and immediately cautioned Tyler, Mom is emotionally fragile right now. Please don't try to manipulate her for money. I need you to come and comfort her. What's the point if there's no money involved? It's not worth my time, Tyler replied dismissively when I insisted we wouldn't provide him with money. From then on, he never visited our parents' home. And then, 6 months after our father's passing, our mother also passed away. Despite knowing how fragile she was, my brother showed no concern. When he heard about her death, he hurried back to our parents' home. I expected him to fulfill his duties as the eldest son during the funeral, but when it began, he and his wife vanished. I tried calling his phone, but it went straight to voicemail. In the end, I had to step into the role of chief mourner in his absence and managed to see the funeral through. It was a few days later when I finally reached my brother. Ah, Samantha, this is Carol, came the voice on the other end when I dialed my brother's number. Tyler is busy with boarding procedures and can't come to the phone. Boarding procedures? Carol, where are you guys? We're at JFK Airport. We're leaving the United States in a few hours. Lola, are you leaving the United States to go abroad? I asked, surprised by my brother and his wife's sudden travel plans right after our mother's passing. Yes, we're going on an international trip, Carol confirmed cheerfully. I was taken aback by their decision, but even more so by what Carol revealed next. We're really grateful to your mother, you know. Thanks to her, we can enjoy this luxurious trip abroad, Carol said with a hint of amusement. We used your mother's savings for this trip. It was going to be Tyler's inheritance anyway, so we figured, why not use Mom's savings? How did you manage to get that money? I asked, trying to comprehend their audacity. We borrowed her bank book and seal when we visited her house. We knew we wouldn't be able to withdraw money once the death certificate was submitted, so we acted quickly, Carol explained casually. So, you used Mom's money? I asked, struggling to suppress my anger. Yeah, we've already spent about $10,000 on trip expenses, Carol replied nonchalantly. I felt a surge of anger towards my brother and his wife for their blatant disregard of our mother's belongings. But then a realization hit me. They have no idea, I thought to myself, stifling a laugh. Well, they'll find out soon enough. Confused by my sudden laughter, Carol asked, What's going on? Did the shock of us using the money drive you mad? Tyler is the eldest son, so it's natural for him to inherit more, right? I chuckled, playing along. Sure, I'll give up my inheritance so Tyler can have everything. That was your plan all along, wasn't it? Upon hearing this, Carol replied happily, Oh, you're so understanding. By the way, please arrange for all of Mom's mail to be forwarded to your address from now on. It's a simple task. I'll let Tyler know. With that, Carol cheerfully ended the call. I didn't hear from my brother again until they returned from their trip. Samantha, Carol told me you're giving up your inheritance. Yes, but did you take care of the mail forwarding for Mom's mail? Yeah, I handled it as soon as we got back. Good to hear. You won't change your mind later, will you? You won't decide you should have inherited after all? Of course not. I stand by my decision. Well, it's only fair that I, as the eldest son, inherit everything, my brother said, ending the call on a jovial note. But a few weeks later, he called again, sounding panicked. There's a collection notice addressed to Mom in her mail. What's this about? I asked, puzzled by the unexpected mail. Oh, is it from the bank? Our parents were always generous, willing to assist anyone in need. This often extended to financial matters where they would borrow money to help others or act as guarantors. Over time, their debts accumulated, my brother explained. The debts far outweighed their savings, so inheriting would only put us in deeper financial trouble. Did you know about this? My brother's tone grew accusatory. You were aware of Mom's debt, weren't you? Why didn't you say anything? He demanded. It wouldn't have made a difference, I replied calmly. What do you mean, it wouldn't have made a difference? You knew about the debt when you chose to relinquish your inheritance, right? I countered. If I had known, I would have done the same, my brother retorted. That's not possible. Why not, Tyler? You withdrew money from Mom's account for your vacation, didn't you? I pressed. So what? How does that relate to giving up the inheritance? Tyler questioned, growing defensive. It's significant. What you did is legally seen as accepting the inheritance, I clarified. What does that mean? Explain it so I understand, Tyler demanded. I explained to my brother that withdrawing money from our deceased relative's account before the inheritance process could be interpreted as legally accepting the inheritance by default. I've never heard of such a thing, my brother insisted. Of course not. Not many people would even consider using a deceased family member's savings for their own needs, so it's not a common topic of discussion, I replied evenly. You're making this up because you want the inheritance for yourself. I have a lawyer friend who will get to the bottom of this, my brother threatened before abruptly hanging up. Later, he called back, his tone subdued. Samantha, you were right. I can't renounce the inheritance now, he admitted, having received the same response from his lawyer. Finally grasping the reality of inheriting our parents' debt, my brother faced the consequences of his actions. He had frequently asked our parents for money without realizing they were accruing debts behind the scenes. It was partly his own fault for contributing to the financial strain. Desperate to evade responsibility, he attempted to persuade me. Hey, Samantha, now that our parents are gone, it's just us siblings. Shouldn't we unite forces? He proposed. Unite forces? What do you mean? I asked cautiously. I think we should work together to repay our parents' debt. It's our duty now, he urged. Forget about the inheritance and help me pay back half of what's owed. I sighed heavily at his belated and self-serving proposal, knowing it was too little too late. What are you talking about? When Dad was in the hospital, I suggested we support our parents together, but you pushed me away, I asserted. I had a lot going on at that time, Tyler replied defensively. No matter how busy you were, you didn't visit Dad in the hospital once and you didn't support Mom after Dad passed. I didn't want to hear about filial piety from someone like you ever again, I retorted, feeling the weight of my words. With nothing more to say, I ended the conversation, leaving Tyler hanging. Have you ever considered anyone else's needs, Tyler? You took advantage of our parents' kindness, but family doesn't abandon family, even in tough times. Carol, and I can't manage this debt alone. Are you really going to turn your back on your own brother? I challenged him. You blamed Dad's health issues on him when he was in the hospital. Now, using Mom's savings is on you. Reflect on that, I continued, my frustration evident. I still think you're only concerned about easing your own burden. And even if you've changed, the person who deserves your apology is no longer here. It's too late, I concluded firmly, cutting off the call. I had no intention of bailing Tyler out after all the turmoil he caused our parents over the years. Afterwards, burdened with debt and unable to maintain their once carefree lifestyle, Tyler and Carol's relationship quickly soured. Despite the strain, separating was financially unfeasible. They couldn't even afford the cost of moving out, so they reluctantly continued living together, their marriage fraught with constant arguments. Initially, they attempted to chip away at their debt from their salaries, but their efforts were short-lived. Both Tyler and Carol struggled to let go of their extravagant habits, often spending money in secret, which only exacerbated their financial woes. They blamed each other for their inability to make progress, further straining their relationship. Their marriage deteriorated further in this relentless cycle. Meanwhile, I found solace in properly mourning our parents. During their funeral, countless attendees tearfully expressed gratitude for our parents' past generosity and support. Realizing the extent of our parents' impact on others filled me with profound pride. It struck me as ironic that my brother, who had rarely shown appreciation and often caused problems for our parents, now bore the weight of the debt resulting from their compassionate deeds. Despite their financial troubles, I continued to admire our parents' unwavering dedication to helping others. With these thoughts in mind, I faithfully honored our parents at the family altar every day. I had no idea you had been hoarding like that. Besides, we're a married couple. There's no reason I shouldn't use our shared assets. It's worse to hide it while looking down on me. My husband and mother-in-law continued talking as they please. I was so disgusted with them that I decided to confront them with the truth. Asterisk, sigh. Asterisk, by the way, have you checked the name of the passbook? Ha! My name is Lillian, and I'm turning 42 this year. I've been married for 17 years. Before that, I worked at a company. After getting married, I quit my job and started working part-time at a local supermarket. I met my husband Eason at work, and at the time, I thought he was an ordinary and kind man. That changed about 6 months after we got married. One day, while preparing dinner, my mother-in-law suddenly visited our house without any notice. My husband hadn't come home from work yet, and I thought there might be some urgent matter, so I let her in. As soon as she saw the living room, she let out a big sigh. Lillian, you've been idly watching TV until this hour. My son Eason is still working hard, sweating at his job. Don't you feel sorry? Yes, I did have the TV on, but until a moment ago, I have been preparing dinner in the kitchen. You might say I'm lazing around, but I finished my housework by morning and have just returned from shopping after my part-time job. Feeling irritated but thinking I've done my part, I replied, I'm sorry, to my mother-in-law. She ostentatiously snorted, went into the kitchen, and started finding fault with dinner too. Oh dear, is this all we have for dinner today? Poor Eason, working so hard. I planned for curry and salad today. The salad is in the fridge. How could you let Eason eat such a half-baked meal? I wonder what you've learned at home. Insulted not just about me but also about my parents, I finally lost it and asked a bit harshly, didn't you need something? My mother-in-law opened her eyes wide. Oh my, don't get so mad just because I looked at the dinner. She pouted her lips conspicuously and sat heavily on the sofa to watch TV. What do you need? It's not what do you need. Don't you think you should offer something to your mother-in-law who has kindly visited? Excuse me. You're such an inconsiderate person, not even serving tea. Poor Easton, she kept repeating poor Easton, so I served her tea. But she complained about everything, including the taste of the tea, saying it was cheap. Back then, I was young and avoided arguing with my husband's mother, wondering if I should be considerate to her. However, taking advantage of the fact that neither my husband nor I said anything, my mother-in-law began to frequently visit our home, constantly complaining that I wasn't cleaning properly, that I was always lazy, and that I lacked discipline. After being constantly criticized at every turn, I was truly at my wit's end and decided to consult my husband about his mother. Hey, could you ask your mom to reduce the number of times she comes to our house? Why? Is it that much of a bother when mom comes over? You've seen it, haven't you? No matter how much I work on the house or cooking, your mom keeps complaining about me. Well, that's because mom wants you, Lillian, to work harder, so she gets tough. I'm doing my best, but if she comes over without notice, I can't even prepare dinner properly. If you're bothered, say it yourself. But don't forget that mom cares about us too. Throughout, my husband was like this. He never really worried about what I was saying. No matter how much effort I put into cleaning the house or studying cooking, my mother-in-law would nitpick and never praise me once. The vegetables my mother-in-law brought were clearly close to their expiration date, so I used them for dinner. Then my mother-in-law sighed conspicuously. To serve such withered vegetables to her husband and his mother, I finally realized that she just wanted to bully her daughter-in-law. Being persistently criticized, I consulted my father-in-law. When I told him that it was hard to prepare meals for the mother-in-law and that it was a problem to be visited many times without notice, he seemed unaware she was coming to our house and apologized to me politely. I thought she was going out to dinner with friends. I didn't think she was bothering you, Lillian. I'm sorry. No, it's not something for you to apologize for. She's often out and about, so I've been giving her money for meals, but she hasn't been taking it, has she? Unfortunately, no. I'm really sorry. My father-in-law continued to apologize throughout our conversation. He promised to speak sternly to my mother-in-law, and I didn't press further on her attitude, thinking that was sufficient. I thought I could finally relax, but then I received a phone call filled with scolding from my mother-in-law. Hello? You're really uncouth, tattling to my husband like that. What? I've been going out of my way to check on you, and I didn't expect you to repay my kindness with such ingratitude. That's not true. I'm not repaying kindness with ingratitude. If anyone should apologize, it should be you. It's audacious to claim your inconvenience. I'm educating you in areas where your upbringing was lacking. You should be grateful. I understand your perspective, but it is inconvenient when you show up without notice. Should a mother need to make an appointment to visit her own son's house? My parents wouldn't do that. How bold of you as a daughter-in-law. You should adapt to the rules of your husband's family. No matter what I said, she grew increasingly heated and eventually started yelling so loudly that I couldn't understand her. Then she hung up. I suspected she called while my father-in-law was absent, so I hesitated to consult him again, fearing it would only exacerbate the situation. Though the visits decreased slightly, my mother-in-law continued coming to our home. My husband, in good spirits, shared work complaints with my mother-in-law and received her sympathy, showing no signs of persuading her to stop visiting. Seeing his attitude, my mother-in-law became even more cheerful, and they both began blaming me. Lillian, you don't show enough respect to Mom. That's right, Easton, tell her more. I'm only getting a small allowance, even though I'm the one earning the money. That's terrible. What a devil of a wife you have. They continued eating the meals I prepared while complaining about them, chatting and laughing in the living room I had cleaned. When I washed the dishes, my husband would say, "At least prepare the bath," expecting me to get everything ready from bath towels to his pajamas. My mother-in-law didn't reprimand him but instead sided with him, saying, "Poor thing, having such an inconsiderate wife." I consulted with my father-in-law again and received yet another profuse apology, but I was exhausted with my mother-in-law's unchanged behavior. Those days stretched on endlessly. One day, I realized that a necklace passed down to me by my own mother was missing. When I asked my husband, he claimed he didn't know and coldly dismissed me with, "You probably lost it due to your own carelessness. It was supposed to be in my drawer." The truth came out when my mother-in-law visited our home again during dinner time. Mother-in-law, that necklace? Oh dear, it's quite disgraceful to desire something someone else is wearing. What my mother-in-law had around her neck was undoubtedly the necklace I had lost. It had a unique, unusual design with a peculiar ornament, and there was no way I could mistake it. And there she was, wearing it right in front of me. Please give it back. How awful. Are you accusing me of stealing from you? It's not only desiring someone else's belongings but also calling them a criminal that reveals your upbringing. With a triumphant smile, my mother-in-law provoked me until I couldn't hold back and reached for her necklace. Then my mother-in-law purposefully screamed, and just then my husband, who had returned home earlier than usual, opened the front door. Upon seeing me, he shoved me hard. I crashed into the wall and crouched down on the spot. Looking down at me, my husband grasped my mother-in-law's shoulder and began accusing me. Just like Mom said, "You've been bullying her while I'm not here, haven't you?" That's right, Easton. Lillian is really terrible. I just wanted to get along. No, listen. The necklace your mother is wearing is the one I said I lost. I don't want to hear any excuses. Mom, let's eat out tonight. You better reflect on your actions. Such a sweet boy. Easton really is a good son. With that, my husband left with my mother-in-law. The shock of not being able to retrieve my necklace, coupled with the anger towards my husband for siding with my mother-in-law without listening to me, made my pent-up frustrations explode. That day, I sought out my father-in-law again. While he apologized to me, he also listened attentively to my story, revealing his own frustration with my mother-in-law's behavior. It was during this conversation that I hatched a plan. When my mother-in-law visited our house again without learning her lesson, flaunting the necklace and enjoying my reaction, I carefully set my plan in motion. I forgot to buy something. Could you look after the house for a bit? I deliberately asked her. Normally, she would have retorted sharply, but this time she smiled sweetly and agreed. Of course, take your time. You're always busy with housework. Thank you. I'll be back in about 30 minutes. With that, I left her at home and went out alone. In the supermarket parking lot, my heart pounded with nervous anticipation. I hoped to find definitive evidence, yet part of me also wished my mother-in-law and husband would reflect on their actions and change. Exactly 30 minutes later, I returned home with shopping bags in hand. As I entered, I found my mother-in-law and husband in the living room casually eating dinner. Oh, you were late, so we started without you. Today's dinner was more plain than usual. Don't you feel sorry for Mom? But I asked mother-in-law to watch the house because I forgot to buy something. No more excuses. Be careful next time. Watching my husband grow even more arrogant due to my mother-in-law's presence, I couldn't help but sigh. Looking at the nearly empty pot with only scraps of vegetables left, I felt more disgust than anger towards my husband who hadn't thought to save any food for me. It seemed unlikely that these two would ever reflect on their actions. After cleaning up dinner, I checked the trap's status after my mother-in-law had left. As expected, it appeared that the trap had been triggered. Seeing this, my husband smirked, mocking me. His victorious smile mirrored my mother-in-law flaunting the necklace, and despite myself, I couldn't help but chuckle. The day of reckoning arrived sooner than I expected. On my husband's day off, my mother-in-law summoned me to the living room. Finding them both in high spirits, I sat across from them, pretending ignorance. Hey, why didn't you tell us? What are you talking about? About the bank book. With that much money, you could have told us. Now you can show filial piety to Mom too. I'm not sure what you mean. Don't play dumb. We're talking about your bank book. Oh, I managed to say without displaying any hint of panic. Although it might have appeared suspicious, the two of them happily spread out estimates for a single-family house on the table. Mom and Dad, you and me, we bought a new two-family house. But what do you mean? You're slow to catch on, aren't you? We're saying we made a contract with the money from your bank book. Buying it all at once means no interest and it's smoother, right? Hold on, why are you moving forward with this without me? Lillian, you really do hate me, don't you? That's why you're saying you don't want to live together. Hey, cut it out. You're being rude to Mom. Who's being rude? It's far more disrespectful for you two to use my money without my permission. You're the one. People with bad upbringing really have bad mouths. Suppressing a laugh at their audacity, I marveled at how appalling the situation had become. Yet my determination to exact revenge remained unshaken, fueled by their actions. We found a perfect newly built property for sale, so we've already signed the contract. No matter what you say, it's too late now anyway. I didn't know you were saving up that much. Besides, we're married, so there's no reason for you to complain about using our shared property. That's right, it's worse to hide it. By the way, did you check the name on the bank book? Their expressions froze at my words. Finally, unable to contain myself, I burst into laughter. They both stared at the name on the bank book, then turned to me with faces drained of color. What the hell is this? It's exactly what you're seeing. Why is our daughter's name on it? I never said it was my bank book. So what does that mean? You stole Dad's bank book, you thief. Who's the thief? You went out of your way to pry open a locked drawer and took it. But you were hiding it so carefully. Oh, so it's okay to steal things that your daughter treasures. I guess that's how you were raised, mother-in-law. Don't talk back to Mom. Watch your mouth. Do you know why father-in-law gave this to me? Oh, why do you say? I heard from father-in-law about the reason mother-in-law has been spending so much money lately. You two took a vacation while taking time off from work, didn't you? Well, it seems you told the company whatever you wanted as the reason for taking time off, like I had a fever or went back to my parents' home. I got a call from the department head, and he was speechless when I told him the truth. Finally realizing their predicament, the two exchanged troubled glances. But I had no intention of forgiving them for this. While we were silent, the doorbell conveniently rang. I went to the entrance and brought the visitor into the living room, causing the two to let out a small scream. When my mother-in-law came to our house, I had contacted my father-in-law. Why are you here? I've told you countless times not to cause trouble for Lillian. But, there are no buts. When will you two start behaving properly? Dad, she had your bank book and. So, why are you calling her she? I didn't raise you to be so rude. You're old enough to know better. It's embarrassing to hear you refer to Mom like that all the time. If you can't treasure your wife, what's the point of calling her she? If you say that, she has treasured me too. Are you saying you're not being treasured? I've been working hard to avoid causing you trouble, and I thought I'd managed to save a decent amount of money. I've tried my best to let you do what you want without any financial constraints, and now what? You want me to overlook your mistreatment of your wife. Throughout this exchange, my father-in-law fired back at every excuse they tried to make, leaving them speechless. He delivered the final blow to the two who were shrinking and hanging their heads. About the bank book, by the way, I told her to take it as compensation for all the trouble you've caused, despite my warnings. No way, and after stealing that money, you've even bought a house. What more should I do for you? The two couldn't say anything, and my father-in-law ended up taking my mother-in-law home. Before she left, I pointed to her neck and successfully retrieved the necklace. Seeing this, my husband understood what had happened and forced his mother to apologize. In the now quiet living room, I handed divorce papers to my husband, who looked completely defeated. Oh, why? What do you mean, why? After everything that's happened, do you really think we can stay married? But you're only mad at Mom. Of course I'm disgusted with you too. No, I won't divorce. Then shall we go to court? We have to expose everything you've done to the court and your company though. Huh? Oh yes, we've got it all on camera. You two breaking open the lock and taking the bank book clearly shows you two in the act. No, you're lying. It's astonishing how you can accuse others of theft after what you've done. I wonder what kind of upbringing you had. What? All of that will be made public, and you'll probably have to repay the $300K you've used of your father-in-law's money, along with my compensation and the court fees. What are you going to do? Why can you say such cruel things? You still don't get it. Should we have your father lecture you again? I accepted the divorce papers from my dejected husband and finally became a free woman. As for the $300K I received from my father-in-law, I decided to accept it as compensation for my ordeal with my ex-husband and ex-mother-in-law. Under my father-in-law's supervision, the two of them worked tirelessly to repay him a total of 60 million yen. Once I received an email from my ex-husband to a free email address, seemingly asking for reconciliation, but I ignored and deleted it. Thanks to being free from my source of stress, my health has improved, and I'm enjoying my life with the money I received from my father-in-law. For the money, Emily. Your salary isn't much, but it's better than nothing. So, reluctantly, I carried on with our married life. But once I get those 3 million, I won't need you anymore. I want to live a relaxed life alone. So please, let's part ways. Fine. If you have that much money, you can sell the house. It will cover the mortgage too. John was a bit surprised that I agreed without any resistance. This would mean goodbye to my tiresome life up to now. I slammed some papers onto the table in the living room. My name is Emily. I love children and work as a preschool teacher. I met John, who was 2 years older than me, through a friend's introduction, and we've been married for almost 8 years now. We bought a house, thinking about having children, looking forward to happy days ahead. That's what I thought during our newlywed days. But soon after we got married, John's attitude completely changed. He became more and more obsessed with money. Before we got married, he would tell me my job was wonderful. But then he started saying, "Emily, all you have to do is play with kids. I'm working my ass off here. You've got a good gig. I bet they call people like you a freeloader." Those words soon became his catchphrase. Being a daycare teacher is tough too. Each child has a different personality, and above all, we are entrusted with their lives. There's no such thing as an easy job. But he didn't listen and ignored my complaints. I was so frustrated and upset. The reason we don't have children, even though we've been married for 8 years, is also due to this. He would say, "If you have time to make babies, you should work more. Don't tell me you're planning to quit your job using a baby as an excuse. We have a mortgage and taxes to pay, you know. What are you thinking? Don't ever talk about having kids again." I was yelled at and couldn't say anything back. Sure, John is older and has a career, so his income is higher than mine. But the gap isn't that big. It's only a difference of a few $1,000s. And yet he acts high and mighty every time. I take pride in my job and find fulfillment every day. So being looked down upon for such unjustified reasons was humiliating. John's words pierced my heart, and I often found myself crying quietly alone. Lately, John has been saying he wants to be alone more often. Technically, I could live by myself, but I've been sticking with you out of necessity. Don't forget that. Why does he always belittle me? Perhaps it's because John's been working more overtime lately. It's because you're not working hard enough that I have to work overtime to make ends meet. How about showing a little gratitude? I'd often get blamed like this. But even though he's working overtime, his salary doesn't seem to be increasing. I can tell from carefully checking our finances. His paycheck doesn't change much, does it? Maybe that's what ticked him off, because John got angrier than I've ever seen him before. Who do you think is making this lifestyle possible? If I wanted to, I could easily leave you. Be prepared. He said something that sounded almost like a threat. He wasn't like this before we got married. Since that incident, our conversations as a couple have steadily decreased. Then one day, something happened that pushed me further into despair. During Thanksgiving at John's parents' house, his mother served tea and said, "You two have been married for 8 years now, right, Emily? You used to talk about wanting children soon. Have you decided how many you want, considering your age?" I thought it was the perfect time to discuss it, so I was about to speak up. But then John interjected, "Mom, we're not having kids. Emily and I discussed it and decided." "Oh, is that so?" She mentioned she absolutely hates the idea of dealing with children, whether at work or at home. "What? Wait a minute, what are you saying?" I interjected, taken aback. "Mom, can you please not bring it up so much? It's stressful for Emily too." "No, that's not what John's mother started. "Well, if that's what you two have decided, it's okay to just be the two of you. It's certainly hard work," she concluded, leaving the room before I could say anything more. During the car ride home, I confronted John. "Why would you tell such a lie? I love children and want them, but you keep saying you don't. And it's true we can't afford to have a child because you don't work full-time. Only start talking when you start earning as much as me. I thought preschool teachers earn more." "What a disappointment," I retorted dismissively. "I don't like the way you're saying that. From the beginning, I never disliked children, and I never planned on having them. Children are just a financial burden. I'd rather spend that money on myself," he chuckled callously. His words shocked me. "You should never mix personal matters with work," he continued, shaking his head. Though I knew he was right, I couldn't shake the feeling that this issue was too significant to ignore. Children are sensitive to these things. Later, a girl named Amy from my class approached me. "Miss Emily, what's wrong? You seem less cheerful today." "I'm sorry, Amy. I didn't mean to worry you." "I'm fine," I assured her, patting her head gently. Amy wasn't usually outspoken, but she was remarkably mature and kind for her age. Clearly, she was receiving excellent upbringing. "You're not fine. You're usually much more cheerful." "I don't want to see Miss Emily like this," she said with concern. "Maybe my daddy can help with Miss Emily's problem. He's a superhero and helps lots of people. He's picking me up tomorrow, so I'll tell him," Amy suggested eagerly. Usually, Amy's mother picked her up, but she mentioned her father would be coming tomorrow because her mother was busy. I thanked Amy and reassured her I was fine, although I couldn't help feeling curious about meeting her father again since our first encounter at the school entrance ceremony. The next day, as Amy had said, her father came to pick her up. "Thank you for looking after Amy. I'm her father. I've heard a lot about you from my daughter. I really appreciate that she seems to be having a good time." "Oh, not at all. We're the ones who should be thanking you. Amy is such a kind girl." He struck me as a very polite person, but I didn't feel like sharing my personal affairs, especially since they were quite embarrassing, topics that weren't easy to discuss. "I can tell that Miss Emily is worried about something, so I want you to talk to my dad." Amy's words were kind, but I replied, "Thank you, Amy. I really appreciate your concern, but I understand how you feel. It can be difficult to confide in someone, even if they're a close acquaintance. However, my daughter is really worried about you. If there's anything going on, please let me help." Surprised, I took the business card from Amy's father and noticed his title. Looking back, I think that was the moment my fate changed. That was when I decided to take revenge on John. As I was preparing for that moment, John suddenly approached me. "Hey, how about we get a divorce?" It had been a long time since John came home early, and we had dinner together. My hands, still washing dishes, froze. Perhaps he thought I was bewildered by the suddenness. John grinned unpleasantly. You might not like it, but my feelings won't change. May I ask why? A huge sum of money is coming in. Do you want to know how much? $3 million. John's mouth kept moving, even though I hadn't asked anything. I've been with you because I wanted financial stability. It might have been just a drop in the bucket compared to me, but it was better than nothing, right? Now that I have $3 million, I don't need you anymore. So let's end things quickly. You must be tired of being seen as a burden. Where did all that money come from? There were many things on my mind, but I started with the question that seemed most pressing. That's none of your business. We're strangers now. Okay, I understand. Let's go our separate ways. My quick acceptance seemed to surprise John, leaving him slightly taken aback. By the way, I have no intention of staying in this small house anymore. With $3 million, I plan to live in a mansion, so I'm going to sell this house too. That's fine. I'll start looking for an apartment then. Can you handle paying off the rest of the mortgage on this house? Yeah, I'll take care of it. At least that much. It's only natural. Our situations are different now. Thank you. That would be a relief. With that settled, I sprang into action. John observed my brisk movements with a curious gaze, marking the start of busy days filled with packing and apartment hunting. Once the divorce arrangements were nearly settled, I arranged a meeting with John. I'll leave the mortgage payments to you, John. To avoid any future disagreements, I've prepared a written agreement covering all these details. Please review and sign it, I stated firmly. Fine, just don't come complaining later, John retorted, as usual adding an unnecessary remark. Irritation surged within me, but I managed to keep my composure. As John read through the divorce agreement, he suddenly halted. What's this alimony section? Why should I be paying? If anything, Emily, who doesn't work full-time, should be the one paying. You thought you could sneak this past me. How naive, he argued sharply. In response, I calmly placed several documents on the table. John's face paled as he examined the evidence. Thank you for all those late nights at work. I truly appreciate your dedication. You must really enjoy your job, John. Especially with your mistress, I remarked coolly, revealing a photo of John and a woman arm in arm, looking intimate. This woman. She's just a junior colleague. It's an innocent photo. Is this your attempt to catch me out? Do you have any more accusations? John challenged, his tone defensive. Without hesitation, I presented another photo. John and the same woman entering a hotel together. I thought this would finally break him, but he just lashed out again. This is clearly fabricated. Do you think I'm fooled by some manipulated photos? Technology can fake anything these days, John scoffed dismissively. I let out a heavy sigh. His stubbornness didn't surprise me. I had prepared for this. These aren't doctored. They'll confirm it themselves. At that moment, the doorbell rang. John looked uneasy as I went to greet our guests and led them into the living room. This is my attorney. These photos were obtained through a private detective agency. They're indisputable. If you have doubts, we can call them right now, I asserted calmly. Pleasure to meet you. I'm Counselor Emily's attorney. Going forward, all matters regarding the divorce will be handled through me. Do you have any concerns about the evidence? The attorney, Mr. Kessler, asked confidently. John began to visibly panic. It turned out John's excuse of working overtime due to business was a lie. The private detective agency revealed he was leaving work on time. His income had an increase because of this. He was spending his nights with his mistress. When his affair was exposed, everything clicked. His desire to be alone was likely to be with her. The lawyer I hired, recommended by Amy's influential father, was exceptionally skilled. Amy had described her father as a superhero, and it seemed she wasn't exaggerating. Upon learning of my situation, he promptly engaged a private detective and connected me with Mr. Kessler. Initially, I thought it excessive, but the more I learned about John's deception, the more justified my actions felt. Anger surged through me, prompting me to take decisive steps. You act as though you're doing me a favor. You want alimony? Fine, I have $3 million. I can afford it. If you're finished here, just leave. I never want to see your face again. I would have left even if you hadn't said that. If anything comes up in the future, let's handle it through our lawyers. Don't contact me directly. Why would I want to see you? John spat out these final words. Silently, I packed my belongings and left the house. If it had been anyone else but John, perhaps his words would have had more impact. But he remained true to himself until the end. How can someone be so arrogant? I pondered as I walked away from the house. I thought my tale of revenge had reached its conclusion. Then, a few months later, just as I was settling into my new life in the apartment where everything had transpired, a significant change occurred. The source of my stress was finally gone. At first, I was shocked by the divorce, of course. But I had no love left for John, so I also felt relief. Despite that, he had the audacity to show up at my new apartment. I recounted. "Please listen to me. I beg you," he shouted loudly at the entrance, forcing me to reluctantly let him in. "What do you want now? I've made it clear I want nothing to do with you," I said firmly. He smirked as he surveyed my apartment. "You've got a nice place here for someone who left me. If there are 2 rooms, I could move into one right away." "What are you talking about? There's no way I'm living with you," I retorted. "Don't be so cold. We were once a couple, remember? Now, what is it you want?" "Don't talk like that, Emily. It's unsettling." "I've come to realize I need you, Emily. You'd have a better life with me, wouldn't you?" "Living in a mansion with your mistress," he remarked casually. "I was only with you out of necessity. I don't need to be with you anymore," I replied firmly, closing the door behind him. "No." It was a moment of confusion. "I need you, Emily. You're just being stubborn," John insisted, his voice wavering. "Didn't you say you didn't need me anymore because of the $3 million? Why don't you find your next wife with that money?" "No, you've misunderstood," I replied firmly. John suddenly began to cry. "The truth is, I thought I won the lottery and would get $3 million. But when I checked, the numbers were wrong." I jumped to conclusions, John confessed tearfully. I was dumbfounded. What is he talking about? I couldn't find words to respond. "I was looking for a reason to leave you. That's why I misread the numbers. I thought if I had $3 million, I could divorce you and do whatever I wanted," he continued, his voice pleading. Seeing the cold look in my eyes, he hurriedly added, "But please believe me, I ended things with her. From now on, I'll only love you. Let's start over. You still love me, right?" "What are you saying?" I don't know what to think anymore. "Do whatever you want," I replied, overwhelmed. I thought I was getting $3 million, so I quit my job and said terrible things to my boss. Now I can take it back. And to make matters worse, my mistress found out I had no money and stopped contacting me. It seemed John had been abandoned by his mistress. It was clear that no one would want a man who was divorced, unemployed, broke, and homeless. "That's why I can't pay my loan, and I don't have anywhere to go. Emily, you're my last hope," John pleaded desperately. "I've already told you I don't know anything about that. If you don't leave now, I'll take legal action. Remember the agreement you signed during our divorce? If you break it, I'll demand 5 times the alimony." "Enough is enough, John," I said firmly, my voice tinged with anger. In a moment of frustration, John raised his hand threateningly. "Is that your plan? Lay a hand on me, and I'll call the police immediately. Assault charges are serious. This apartment complex has security cameras. Your face will be caught even if you run," I warned sternly. John paled at the mention of the police. "Get out now, or I'll report you for trespassing." At the threat of a report, John hastily retreated. I heard a commotion that sounded like someone stumbling down the stairs, but I simply closed the door without further concern. After that day, John never returned. Later, my in-laws came to apologize. They hadn't expected things to turn out this way. When I asked about John, they explained he had fractured his leg in the fall down the stairs and had to be hospitalized for 2 months. His medical bills piled up, and with the mortgage and alimony payments to me, he was under significant financial strain. He pleaded with his former employer to let him work from home and rescind his resignation, but his abrupt departure had soured relations, leaving him without a job. My in-laws stepped in to cover the alimony temporarily, but he still faced the challenge of finding work to cover his mortgage and ongoing expenses. It was a difficult situation of his own making, I concluded, reflecting on the turn of events. After everything settled, I visited Amy's home. When I informed Amy's father that everything had been resolved, he greeted me warmly. "I've been wanting to meet you since Amy often speaks highly of you. I never imagined it would happen under these circumstances," he said sincerely. "I made a few calls, and I'm glad things worked out," I replied gratefully. "It's wonderful to see you smiling again, Emily," he remarked, his eyes reflecting relief. "She truly made a significant impact." We're so grateful, Amy's father added, his voice filled with appreciation. My husband looked down on me because I was a preschool teacher, but it's shaped who I am today. I've come to deeply cherish every encounter. I now love my job more than ever and am committed to doing my best, I shared, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. My name is Emma. I live with my parents and my sister, Sophia. She's always been the beautiful and brilliant one, adored by our parents. As for me, I've always felt invisible to them. Hiding in your room again? You're such an idle youth. Don't think we'll be around forever, they'd say to me. I never expected them to be around forever, but my parents labeled me as a NET and never took me seriously. One day, my sister approached me. Poor thing, you're neither cute nor exceptionally talented. Don't you ever wonder what you're living for? I'm happy with my life, so don't say weird things. Oh well, dear, as you please, but let me tell you something great. Something great? What? I'm getting married to a very handsome and high-income man. Oh, that's good for you. Jealous. You must be. You'll never get married. Sophia assumed I'd never get married and kept bragging about herself. I'm not particularly interested in marriage, so whether or not I can get married doesn't matter to me. I was planning to attend my sister's wedding since she's family, but then, what? You're coming to my wedding? Yeah, is that a problem? Of course, it's a problem. If a bottom feeder like you comes, it'll degrade the ceremony. What's a bottom feeder? A bottom feeder is just that. You can't do anything, completely useless. Why are you saying such horrible things? I just want to celebrate your wedding. I don't need your congratulations. Don't come. My sister despised me and repeatedly told me not to attend. Mother and father also said that a bottom feeder like me shouldn't come, but I thought it would be a problem for my sister if no family members were there, so I decided to go anyway. On the wedding day, as I was walking in my dress, father and mother found me. What are you doing here? I told you not to come to the wedding. My parents yelled at me. Hearing the commotion, my sister approached. Why is a bottom feeder like you here? I didn't invite you. But if there's no family, it might look suspicious. I thought it would be better for you if I was here. Why are you thinking unnecessary things? Your existence is a secret to the other family, you know. What? You didn't know about the family dinner, did you? We didn't invite you. Why would you do something so cruel? This is only natural. You'd just be in the way. If we said we have a bottom feeder in our family, the marriage might be called off. That's why we didn't invite you. Ha ha ha. My sister laughed hysterically as she said this. My parents were smirking. The three of them had conspired together. Seeing their determination to erase my existence, I became deeply saddened. Get out, you useless bottom feeder, my sister yelled at me with fury. I realized that nothing I said would matter to this family anymore, so I reluctantly decided to leave the venue. I'm going home then. Goodbye. Later. My family pointed and laughed at me as I said this. Holding back my frustration, someone called out to me on the way. Boss, good work today. Good work. Wait, what are you wearing? Yes, I'm the one getting married. Didn't you know? What? Wait. How do you know, Caleb? And what's this about being the boss? Also, for you, this person is the president of my company. No way, you're the president. What's your relationship with Sophia? She's my sister. What? Sophia's your sister. But I didn't see you at the family greeting. Well, my sister didn't take me to the greeting. Why would she do such a thing? She thought I was a bottom feeder, idle youth. Sophia, is this true? Caleb yelled at my sister. Wait, but she's always in her room just staring at her computer. I never thought she was working, my sister said, trembling. Why are you so angry? Yes, I said some terrible things to Emma, but it's odd for you to be this upset. Let me explain. I owe the boss a lot. I had been bouncing from one job to another, and my work history was a mess. No one would hire me. The only options left were companies that disregarded workers' rights and welfare, forcing people to work under unfair conditions. Just when I was about to give up and accept a job at one of those places, my application was accepted, and I got an interview at the boss's company. Caleb was recalling his first days at my company. I remember that vividly. The boss said she wanted to see me, not just my resume. After talking with me for a while, she understood who I was and hired me. The company offers fair working conditions and truly values me. The boss changed my life. Really? I had no idea. That's an amazing story, my sister said, clearly trying to win Caleb's favor. However, Caleb saw through her manipulative tactics and grew even more furious. You're clearly trying to manipulate me, but I have no intention of forgiving the disrespect you showed to the boss. Caleb's genuine anger made my sister tremble. Please, don't call off the wedding. Father, mother, say something. My sister pleaded for help from our parents. But father and mother remained silent, unwilling to intervene. We didn't mean to blame Emma as much as Sophia did. This is all your fault. What? So the wedding is off? My sister cried out, her voice cracking. Caleb calmly explained the consequences. If we cancel the wedding, there's a cancellation fee. If it's on the same day, it's 100%. What? 100%? How much money is that? Well, the total cost of the wedding was $30,000, so it would be $30,000. No way. I have to pay $30,000 even if it's canceled. That's how cancellation fees work. Then we should just go ahead with the wedding. Sorry, but I can't do that. I can't forgive what you said to the boss, and I can't risk marrying someone who might continue to speak disrespectfully. It's too dangerous for me. Dangerous? Please, honey. What do you think, boss? Caleb turned to me, seeking my opinion. She's saying this now, but she's just trying to say what she thinks will help her situation. If you marry her, she might start criticizing you too. Things like it's lazy not to do housework just because you work, or being a homemaker is tough, so pitch in with the chores. I see. Maybe it's better to call off the wedding. Hey, don't say things like that. I almost hadn't convinced. Did you catch that? She said convinced. Is that how you talk to someone you plan to marry? I think so. It might be better to call off the wedding or make some changes. With that, Caleb walked away. Wait, don't go. Caleb, Emma, what are you doing? You're ruining my wedding. Don't blame me. This is on you. It's what you deserve. My sister's anger flared at my words. If you hadn't come to the wedding venue in the first place, none of this would have happened. It's your fault. Take responsibility. Bring Caleb back right now. I understand your frustration, but Caleb seems to have doubts about marrying now. If you go through with it like this, it'll only cause more pain for both of you. I think calling it off might be the best choice. What do I do then? You heard about the cancellation fee, right? He said $30,000. That's a huge amount. Yes, that's right. Even if we split the cancellation fee, it's $15,000. If they decide it's my fault, I might end up having to cover the whole amount. Well, that's a possibility. But what can you do? You've done enough to bring this on yourself. Come on, I only said some harsh words. Canceling the wedding over that seems excessive. Don't look at me, it's Caleb's call. Hey, father, mother, say something. When my sister turned to our parents, they suddenly started showing me a lot of warmth. Wow, I never knew Emma had become such a boss. Oh, mine, as a mother, I'm so proud. Absolutely, I always knew Emma had it in her. She's a real go-getter. From now on, let's lean on Emma for financial support. Father and mother said that. Relying on my money? You must be joking. Considering their past verbal abuse towards me, I had no intention of supporting them financially. Sorry, but I can't continue living with my family. I'm heading home now to look for an apartment and live alone. What? Why? We've been together all this time. Why the sudden change? I stayed with you because I believed in the idea of family bonds. I hope that living together might help you understand my work one day. But it's been the opposite. You never understood my job and even insulted me. And now you want to rely on my money. Would anyone want to live with people like that? I understand. I'm sorry. I promise to appreciate you more. Please stay with us, okay? I already said no. I don't want to live with you anymore. Despite my firm stance, father and mother continued to plead. What if we kick Sophia out of the house? Then you'll live with us, right? What? Wait, father, what are you saying? Enough. I was foolish to expect anything from you. We'd be better off with Emma than with you. It was the moment father turned his back on my sister. As a family member, I couldn't bear witnessing such a heartless moment. Father, I have no respect for those who abandon others so easily. What? What do you mean? People like that will eventually turn on me too. I can't live with them. No way. And you, Caleb, what are you doing? Can't even handle this situation properly? Shut up. While father and mother argued, Caleb returned, now dressed casually. What's going on? Are you still fighting? Caleb, I can't believe you actually went to change. I said I would, didn't I? What's going on? Are you really canceling the wedding? This is awful. Why is this happening? Yeah, just so you know, you're to blame. You'll have to pay the entire cancellation fee. I've already discussed it with our parents. What? That's unfair. It's not all my fault, is it? Sis, no matter how you see it, this is on you. Hey, calm down. How dare you tell the boss to be quiet? I won't tolerate any more insults toward her. Please, just wait. Boss, did you call the limo yet? No, I got caught up in our conversation and forgot to call. All right, I'll do it. I need to head home as well. With that, Caleb dialed for the limo. Wait a moment, please reconsider. What's there to reconsider? I don't love you anymore, you know that. Don't say that. It was my fault. I promise I won't say anything terrible about Emma again. We had this conversation too many times. Enough is enough. The limo's on its way, boss. Let's wait outside then. I'll go change as well. Wait, Emma, please, let's talk. There's nothing left to talk about. Emma, father and mother are also pleading. Without you, we'll have to rely on Sophia's money. Sophia will end up paying the cancellation fee and run out of money. We won't be able to live properly. Father, mother, if you need money, why not consider getting a part-time job or something? No way. I don't want to work at this age. It's okay. There are people working well into their 70s, and you're both in your 60s, still energetic. That's not the issue. My body feels heavy and moving around is difficult. You expect me to work? Yes. No way. Are we done here? I'm going to change. Don't speak to me anymore. Once I'm home, I'll pack my bags and stay at a hotel for now. I have no intention of dealing with you ever again. Hey, wait for me. Please don't go. Don't leave us, Emma. My sister and parents screamed, but I swiftly changed and left the venue. Later, Caleb arranged a limo for me to ride home, where I packed my bags and checked into a hotel. From there, I researched apartments, signed a lease promptly, and completely severed ties with my family. Sophia ended up bearing the $30,000 wedding cancellation fee, leading my parents to disown her in anger. They eventually ran out of money and had to take on part-time work. Sophia, having no other options after being disowned, turned to gig work to make ends meet. Meanwhile, I focused on growing my company, increasing my income, and lived happily ever after.